Hello?
Hola, buenos días.
Hi, my friends. How are we? I got hubby with me today.
Greetings, fam.
Greetings. What do you guys think of the new emote? Isn't it so cute? I love it so much. Hubby is here. Yes, hubby is here. I have a... It's gonna kill me every single time I see it. I love it so much.
If it's gonna make a sound, it'd be like... "Bah!"
Yeah. Oh man, I have a new outfit. That's why I'm hiding. I don't have any music. Hang on, I gotta fix that. No music. No music. What do you mean? Ooh. That was a huge sigh.
Yes, I am very hungry.
I'm sorry, beloved. Hubby is fasting right now.
Besto friendo.
Oh, okay, you guys ready to see the new outfit? Can you see my hat? Isn't it so cute? Okay, you ready? Let me come up a little bit. Can you see my hat?
Do you wanna...
What?
It over?
Nah, I got it. I got it.
Look, it's a little beret.
Wow!
It's a little beret with, what is that, mistletoe?
It might be. It's something for sure.
Yeah.
How fast is hubby going? I don't know.
I'm moving with direction and magnitude. So my name is Vector.
Wow. You gonna steal the moon? Enjoy. Let's keep going. Hang on.
Look how festive. Look how festive. We have a cape.
Wow!
Maybe.
What?
Maybe here.
Right here?
Yeah. Maybe here.
You don't want to see my feet?
No, let them appreciate it. Let them appreciate it.
It is cute.
Right, look at the designs on the cape. We got some snowflakes, we got some stars, we got little dots. We got a little snowflake necklace, we got a bow. We got a festive choker with a jingle bell. We got little pom-pom buttons down the front of the, I guess, the dress.
Negative velocity. That's right.
Yeah. We got little bow ties on the left and the right. You
Yes.
can only partially see them. Looks very nice.
I'm gonna keep zooming out.
We got long sleeves.
Ta-da!
Isn't it
Isn't
nice?
it cute?
Isn't it nice?
Hey, Grimace. I can also have
A cribus.
a Shrine Maiden outfit. And I can have pajamas. And I can also have a casual outfit. I can look like Chronico. Schmo. I'm Schmo. What else can I do? I can have another normal outfit too. It's really neat. The way that this model is being handled is like honestly super duper cool. And I really hope that they continue adding to it. Holy cannoli, what just happened? Tyler's!
Also, someone whose username I forget is on a 7-stream streak.
Thanks. Merry Christmas. Holy cannoli, you're only 2 subs away from 300. That's crazy. You've almost given me a sub for every single day of the year. Wow. That's crazy. Thank you. Thanks for giving all those subbies. Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler. Hey, Christmas. Wait a minute.
Just
What?
a week away.
Just a week away. Actually, it's less than that, but look at this fit. Isn't it cute? What do you guys think? I'm all Christmas. Right? Hang on, I think what did I do? How do I? Oh, oh, 2 more. Wait. 300 in total. Very good. Very good. Wow, 300.
A nice round number.
Yes, a very wonderful round number. Yes, all is correct now. The OCD goes hard. 5 days and it's not cold enough outside. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a white Christmas this year. I don't think it's happening. Easy Tyler W, by the way. Thank you. That was really good. You did not have to do that. I really appreciate it though. Let's see. White Christmas. I'm white all year round. I'd hope so. My OCD is ridiculous. Well, Neurospicy has to hit somewhere.
I have
Them's the
an
rules.
entirely unrelated hard pivot.
Oh, hard pivot.
I'm a huge fan of barefoot shoes and
Oh.
boots. The Sons of Sever YouTube channel just released a video comparing the Mini Mill tactical boot to the Limbs tactical boot. They're both barefoot. I'm very excited.
Did I delete it? Huh. I did. I gotta fix that. Sorry, let me add something really quick. You guys, I need to,
pardon me.
wow. I need to show the puppy tea, other than him burping. Hello? Imig? There you are. We'll use the one that we did last time. Boop. Yes. Now we know Hubby's here. There he is.
Is it possible to make the background of that transparent?
I'd have to like edit it and
You have to,
stuff.
like,
Thanks, Wyatt. Thank you. Isn't it cute? I'll back up. I'll back up again. I'm all grimace. I'm all ready.
Cribbis.
Grimace. I could stand on the desk. We could just stream like that. No watching the video.
I'm like that one anime.
That's right.
Actually, there's a few of them like that.
I was thinking like oh, what's the one from Clamp? Ooh, I love it so much.
The one with the what now?
It's from no. The group that draws it is called Clamp. That's what their author title that they share is called. They made like Cardcaptor Sakura and Tsubasa and stuff like that.
Angelic Lair?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
You're proud of me.
Cute Christmas tree. Yes. Hi Grace. How you doing? I'm all ready for Christmas. Grace says hello.
Oh, hello.
He is here. We are cribbising. Cribbis. Wow.
You're proud of me for knowing.
Yeah. I am proud. Let's see. I need to... Ah! No, not that one. That's not her. No. Ta-da! I've been called grave many times. Oh boy. No, only Krampus? Not Krampus. No Krampus.
There's also Cribbis.
Krampus. Grimace? Chrysler. Crisis. Hi, Mia! How are you? Wow, 85. That's so many check-ins. I'm gonna say something. I hope encourages chat. Wow! Yay! Merry Chrysler. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. I'm more of a Toyonathaner myself. The Christmas season for me has been really tough, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But you know what's true through it all? God is good. He loves me and he loves you. Even if life feels like a roller coaster, he always is for you, and he always is there. God bless you guys. Aw, Grace, that's so sweet. Thank you. I'm all Chevy Truck Month. I used to be Chevy Truck Month, but Chevy's kind of let me down. Toyota. I love me some Toyota. Wow. Hi, Andy. Hello. I'm gonna put myself on the desk. I don't want to be under the desk. I want to stand. Hype train over. Wow, thanks for getting me level 4 hype train. Thank you. That was crazy. Where is myself? Yes. I put myself here. Now I stand on desk. Yes. You just made... Oh, ziti! Baked ziti! Everybody, let's go over to Auntie's house. Talk more about food? No, you're fasting. On my way, right meow. I'm gonna stand on this right there. Yeah. Oh shit. No, it's okay. He literally made me watch a video about like marry me dinners like just 2 minutes ago. So, I think talking about food is not a bad thing.
No, this is something that I do not personally experience.
Yeah.
When I'm fasting and I'm looking at food, especially if it's on a screen, I'm like, I want food. I want the food.
Yeah.
I don't know how or why that happens to people. I don't know if it's because I was raised on Food Network or something. I'm used to looking at food. I don't get it. I don't understand. Also, unrelated, I was at the grocery store the other day and they had some candles on sale. Tuscany Candle seems to be a pretty good brand.
Yes.
The smells are very nice. This one is specifically Woodland Path, Cedar and Fresh Pine.
And the candle itself is really pretty. So,
Yeah.
and it's a really big candle. It was like
$15, but I got it for $5.
Yes. Dragon with a beard, me too. I always get so hungry when I hear about food or I see it. So like for a while I was really struggling with like overeating. And so I had to stop watching my travel content because every single video they would be like, look at all this food that I'm eating. And I'm like, I hate you. Actually, I just wanted to see the really pretty place. But
what's the train meal? Ikeben?
No, Ekiben.
Ekiben?
Yeah.
I'm cultured.
You're close.
I'm cultured with lactobacillus.
It's definitely not the Food Network thing because it was on all the time at my house. And I see some food and I want to eat. I know, hubby's weird. I don't get hungry seeing food on a screen either because it's not real. What do you mean? Someone is actually eating that somewhere.
Yeah, but she just ate food in front of me. Like, I made her food, and then she ate the food. And then she got herself some leftovers. And I wasn't like,
Oh yeah, I was fasting too. I fasted for 24 hours. Apparently, as a woman, we're supposed to like fast. Like, if your goal is to like maintain like a healthy metabolism, you should fast for 2 24-hour periods a week. I don't know for men, but for women specifically, it's also really good for your PCOS. Your PCOS. Sorry.
Not pasta sauce. Not pasta sauce. That's a different thing.
Or if you have like endo or something like I do. Like I have all those things. All the things that are wrong with the function of things, I got it. Yeah. But it's okay because we're gonna eat good this coming year, really good. We're gonna eat really clean, and we're gonna fast, and we're gonna return our body to autophagy. Yes. Is that when my mitochondria is working? Is that?
No, autophagy is when your body eats itself.
Oh, what's the one when my mitochondria is working well?
Just mitochondrial health?
Nah, he had a special word for it.
Talking about like ketosis?
Nah.
I don't know.
My pea sauce. Yeah. Hi, Lyrium.
Also, dragon with a beard. Do you enjoy reptiles?
Equilibrium, no.
Do you enjoy reptiles?
Homeostasis?
Perhaps bearded dragons.
Hi. I think it was specifically he used a big word. I'm talking about oh, I can't remember his channel now. Ooh,
Thomas DeLauer?
yeah, that's it, Mr. DeLauer. I love his videos. He's so informed.
He's so Italian.
He's so informed, and he's also really good at explaining things like I'm dumb, but also he doesn't make me feel dumb. And I love it. He really does. But I'm more of a gator and crocodile fan. Woo, gators, huh? Wow. Did you know there's a whole like park that you can go to, like an amusement park in Florida that it's called Gatorland. And you can go and see like hundreds of gators. Wow.
Okay.
I see the streak. Gatorland. Yeah, I want to go. We could go there instead of going to Disney.
I prefer later, Dan.
They have like they have one of those safari rides where they drive the like off-road vehicles on a track.
I thought you were gonna talk about the
Okay, Mia, we'll go. It's really cheap.
fan boats.
Hang on, let me go look up tickets right now. Gatorland. Gatorland right now. Right there. Give me tickets. Give me prices. A single day for an adult, $35. It's pretty good.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Wow.
You can get a Gatorland package. Whoa. What you get?
What are the experiences?
It's only $41 and you get to meet a gator, you get to ride the train, and you get to feed the gators. What? Why wouldn't you do that?
I want to do that.
It's only a few more ads. No!
We're looking at Gatorland.
We're looking at
Am I
Gatorland.
giving us ads? Hit experiences.
Experiences? You want to look at experiences? There's a zip line that you can go over the gator pit. That's pretty cool.
Heights of 65 feet.
It costs $80. Oh, it includes the all-day admission. Wow.
Croc
Rock Adventure. What's this? Hang on, do you guys want to see what I'm looking at? Hello. What's up? Look, I'm all ready for Christmas. Wow. I think I also have an item, but I forgot my hotkeys that I made for it. Now I'm a little sad. I can't remember. Hang on. I got it. I can remember, I'm sure. Okay. Oh, I think I can just turn it on from here. Let's see. Oh. Aha! Yes. Bam! Wow! Look, I have a wand. Well, it's not a wand. It's a candy cane. But
It's labeled in the software as a wand.
yeah, isn't that neat? If security does what? It keeps you from coming in. Is that called getting crock blocked? Yes. Wow! Isn't it so cute? I love this. I love it so much. It's so cute. It's a yummy wand. Yes. This is the kind that you eat and you put a huge point on at the bottom and then you stab people with it.
Is it a wand or a weapon?
It's a weapon! Ah! Ew, what? Why would you float in a river full of gators? I don't know why I said ew. That's scary. Ew! What? Huh? Whoa. Oh, they have a rock wall that you can climb. That's cool. Hang on. You can climb, cross a bridge, and then use zip line at the end.
Wow.
Wow. Do you know what the difference between an alligator and a crocodile is?
They're different species.
Yeah, well, isn't it the length of the snoot?
One
of them you say see you later, the other one you say in a while. Ah, yes. Gator Gauntlet. Excuse me, what's Gator Gauntlet? What? I've never seen a thing like that before. What do you mean? It's a zip line that you like lay down in. Weird. If they have a radio, do they operate it with a crocodile? Okay. They have like special events for like the different holidays.
Oh, there's the off-road adventure.
Oh no, my stuff is not working. I forgot to do it to this model. Ah, dang.
What, because you changed your clothes?
It's a whole new model.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I'm gonna have to like disable that really quick.
We got a whole
Quick
software.
mods. Refund those points. Refund them.
Wolf Soldier. Wolf Soldier, who are you?
Wolf Soldier
my,
is
my name
a
is
friend.
D Wolfwood. That's my username.
A new friend.
I like large murder puppies.
Murder puppies. I don't know if I disable it there or there, if it'll disable it. I don't know. Sorry, none of my stuff are enabled right now. I have to redo all of them again. It's okay. Bye, Solomon. Wow. It's fine, no need to refund. I gave advance in spirit. Well, thank you.
Yeah, wolves. They're puppies
Murder
that
puppies.
do the kill.
Yes. It will cut. It will kill.
Kill. Hey, well, a gator is much less likely to kill you as a pet than a hippo.
I don't like hippos.
Baby hippos are cute. Like
Yeah.
Mudang.
Well, Mudang's a pygmy hippo. They're automatically different.
You just said hippo as a category. You didn't say any particular variety.
Okay. I tried to order Instacart, but accidentally ordered Instagator. It was trying to start fights that day. I can't read. Holy cannoli, I cannot read. It's okay. My brain is working at like 2 seconds a minute. What?
That's all the evidence you need.
Okay, bye Mia. Bye. Bye.
Is she mentally sound enough to stand trial? I'm not sure.
I don't.
not sure.
I can't stand. I ain't got no legs.
Whoa! Look at that contraption.
I ain't got no legs.
Look at that contraption.
I'm just kidding. I have legs.
You've been sliced.
I got sliced. What? Oh my gosh, I am amazed. How do you guys how do you guys have these jokes like on deck? What the heck? Yeah, these are the things I was talking about. You can go off-roading.
You realize they can't see that screen.
No. I was talking to you.
Oh, well.
Gator Night Shine? They have a night experience?
Gotta look them in the eyes.
Blink Blanc. Okay. Are you guys ready to watch the video?
The Town of Turin.
Yes. I'm very excited. No, why are you being such a... Go to this one. Think. What's up, Mackenzie? How you doing? How you doing? Great, honey. Yeah, hi, Sam. How you doing? How you doing? Let's watch video.
The art you posted in the Discord is very cute.
Oh, it was so cute. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
I love seeing ZM's art. So good, so good. All right, hang on. What is this one? This one? Yes. Oh, it's not the right screen. I have it on my art. No, not my art. My music. Musica. Where do you want this one? Oh, it's so stretched.
Yeah, because.
Oh, it's because it's not full screen. I was like, huh? Don't look at my recommended. I don't. Oh, hey, they actually do. That was Prince of Egypt. Wait a minute. Do I just keep my candy cane? What do you think?
Yeah, keep it.
Hang on, I gotta. I'm still very much in the way. Hang on.
No, that's good.
You want me to be in the way?
Yeah, less likely to get copyright.
I
You
know.
put yourself right in the middle, actually. Like right between, because then they can see both of their faces.
Oh, very good. But I don't want to block Jesus.
No, you can switch yourself around.
All right, I'll move myself when
necessary.
Jesus comes onto the screen. Therefore, my brothers, I want you to go festive like Die with Scarlet, right? Like that model was so cute. Did you see? Did you see the
Yes.
Musume?
May I give a dramatic reading?
Yeah, you want to read Snowheart's verse?
Therefore, my brothers, I want you to go.
No.
I want you to know that through Jesus, the forgiveness of sins is proclaimed to you. Through him, everyone who believes is justified, and everything you cannot be justified from the law of Moses.
You missed a word, but that's not your fault.
Be justified?
No, from everything. You couldn't read it, it was blocked.
Well, I don't struggle with dyslexia. It's pretty easy.
Actually, if you have a lawnmower power on and you see a push mower tear through the wall right in the mower. Oh, hello! Hello, poet! My wall! Oh no! Alright, let's see.
Did you always have, like, the teeniest of freckles?
Ever since I've had this model, yes. Yeah.
I gotta be a cutie patootie.
Thanks. I'm gonna turn the say on. Yes. Hang on. I'm gonna put chat over here. Hello. Hello. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Unfortunately, the CC is kind of useless with you in the middle of the screen. It's good for us. It's good for us.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Please don't break my heart. Please don't break my heart.
Everybody's saying that they're gonna cry. I saw a wet sock and I was like, oh.
Joe boy.
Hello, Joe boy. How you doing? What you mean? You're a comic. Day 16. Last one until vacation.
Ooh.
Yay! How many vacation days do you have, Crud Muffin?
No, I need to, my phone's about
Do
to
I need
die.
to scoot down? Should I scoot down just a little bit? Now I'm not blocking Jesus as much. Jesus is behind my head. On the white background. Can't see him yet. Well, actually, it's not. Oh, never mind. I won't elaborate. Your dad helped me that? Amazing. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I have a little candy cane. and a hat. Wow. I'm both excited and not excited for next week. What's happening next week? Premise. Oh. I was like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know that I'm super excited. Oh, I still need to tell my mom that we're not gonna go. I'm just hoping I don't get sick. Because that would be the worst. Let me see. I'll make it a little bit. Here we go. Beautiful. There we go. You'll have to wait to part 2 next week. Dang! I want it now!
I would like you to know that the twice baked bread is fully circular at the moment.
We have twice. Oh, oven?
Toast.
I was like, twice baked bread. You like Christmas, but I'm dreading this year. Oh, Grace, I'm sorry. Praying for no drama and good health. True, yes. I'm hoping that things are fine. I'm just hoping everything goes quickly so I can just come back home. And then I can stream. I want to stream Christmas Day. Do you guys want to hang out with me Christmas Day?
It's okay if you don't.
It's okay if you don't. I'll only be a little bit sad. Maybe. If y'all earlier, I'll show y'all either Sunday or Monday. Wow, yay! Well, don't rush yourself. Just get it out when you can. We're all gonna be waiting to have our hearts ripped out because it's gonna be so sad. Hanging out with Honey on Christmas sound like a dream? Heck yeah! Let's hang out. We can talk about our presents or lack thereof. It's all done? Oh! Well, I mean, don't force yourself to post off of your schedule. Yes. Sure, if I'm allowed. Oh no! Oh, I gotta pause my music. We can't hear the thing if we also have the music going on. It's silly goose of me to do that. Okay. I already know one of my gifts because Mama Word decided to order it on my Amazon account. Ooh, Patrolling Arkham. I love that game. Arkham Asylum, I think, is my favorite Batman game. But I do think that has the most frustrating 100%ing. Also, I can't drive the Batmobile in that game for my life.
Low-key, screw the Riddler.
Dude, why is this stuff so hard?
It's such a pain in the butt.
It's so
the
awful.
freaking Batarang, you gotta, like, throw the Batarang and then, like, remote control the Batarang through, like, air ducts, like, hit a switch in another room. It's so annoying. It's not even puzzles.
It's bad. If you haven't played, just trust. Okay, I'm sorry if you can't read it. I want to not have to unarchive this. Also, hang on, wait. If Mr. Merkel, if you're watching this, please don't bonk me. I love your channel. I love you, please. Please. I mean, I don't love you like that, but like you're like a really cool creator and you have some fun content. I'm trying to react like a React channel, but I'm not a React channel. I'm also an anime woman on the internet. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Doug Powell, how are you, sir?
Oh, it's loud.
I'm super glad to have you, and actually, I think you're having me because
I am having you.
Yes, I've traveled. In fact, this is the first time I stepped outside the studio to do a recording specifically for
You
this
need
show.
to increase it
And
for them.
I reached out to you
Increase
because
what?
I'm heavily
The video.
interested in biblical
It's
archaeology.
super quiet.
The video's quiet. Oh, it's loud for me. Hang on. I got it. All right.
And I'm
Is it
fascinated
too
by
loud
and It's like
now?
a renewed fascination for me because my son, who is
Let
gonna
me
be
know.
turning 8 in December, is extremely fascinated by such things. And so it's kind of giving us things to talk about on the way to school. And I started looking at the Shroud, and then suddenly the Shroud started popping up in news circles recently. And it just became like this obsession. I'm like, I got
It's
to
at
find
an
somebody to
appropriate
talk
volume,
to.
but it's
And you
quiet
popped on my
when it
radar.
goes.
And not only
That's
did you pop
the
on my
point.
radar, you
It's
said,
supposed to be.
I have a life-size replica of the Shroud of Turin.
Look,
Can you come to
okay.
me? And I said,
You guys, you're like, what the heck is the Shroud of Turin? This is it. Behind my head. Right here. If I look right here. Right there. There it is. You lurk, you gotta do Christmas cookies. I am also doing Christmas cookies today.
Cribbis cookies.
Cribbis cookies. Have a good lurk. You're missing the good stuff. The Shroud of Turin, this is what was wrapped around Jesus' body.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I mean, it's a really strong allegedly.
We'll get there. We'll get there. This guy is a really amazing
Go ahead. I have an important caveat.
forensic guy. He explains why this is undeniable, basically. Homemade caramel brownies. Wow, that sounds great. Did your mom make those? Dang.
All right, my caveat.
Okay, your caveat.
So, caveat.
Oh,
This-
you're not here anymore.
This piece of evidence, this shroud, is not necessary for, like, Christian salvation to be real.
Yeah.
If at any point in the future this gets unequivocally disproven, I doubt it, it does not affect your Christian faith. Your Christian faith should not hinge on this piece of fabric and its, air quotes, legitimacy or illegitimacy. So...
I think we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I thought it's... Mods, can you...
What? What's wrong? Refund?
We got a refund, Biscuit Baby.
Biscuit baby.
My headpads aren't working. I'm sorry.
Biscuit baby.
Spoilers. Yes, spoilers.
Biscuit baby eating biscuits and gravy.
What? Thank you, mods. Thank you.
Absolutely. Here we are. So if you could, as we get into the topic of conversation, lay the groundwork as to who you are and why should people even consider listening to what you have to say about the show.
I don't want to be in the way of the subtitles. I want everybody to see them. It's driving me crazy. My autism is going brrr.
Okay.
I gotta scoop myself over.
Here's a hypothetical. There
we go. I think I'm perfect right here. I'm gonna cover Merkel though. I don't care. It's fine. What's a hypothetical?
Never mind. Go ahead. I was gonna suggest an arrangement of the GIF and your model.
Oh no, I think it's fine like this.
Yeah.
Well, I have a master's degree in Christian apologetics from Biola University, and I went through that program about 20 years ago. And one of the professors that I had was Gary Habermas, who is one of the experts in the historical evidence for the resurrection. And one day, I think he was going off script. He started talking about the shroud, and that was something that I have always been interested in, but I never did a super deep dive because I heard so many uncredible things about it that I thought, I don't even know really how to tell the good sources from the bad sources. And he turned out to be my guide into the good sources. And so I got far more interested in it as a result of that because I had some trustworthy sources to look into. And then from there, a few years ago, I wrote a novel that had to do with the shroud and another cloth that's associated with the shroud we'll probably talk about. And again, interviewed Habermas for a podcast that I did, and then that turned into talking to one of the members of the scientific team from 1978, who was part of the most that team was the most intensive scientific study of the shroud ever done, and he was one of the photographers on the team, and he's the guy who took the picture of the shroud that we have here. This is a photograph printed on cotton that is a life-size photograph, 1-to-1 replica, so it's almost 15 feet long and 3 3/4 feet wide, and I got it from him, and
that's crazy. Side tangent. I feel like we all know a guy, if we're Christians, we all know a guy that looks like this. I don't know. He reminds me of my my first like pastor, like for the first church that I like technically went to. He was the one that I met hubby at, and was my best friend's dad. So funny. 1, 2. Holy cannoli, 15 feet long. Tall? Same difference. Yes. Anyway. For the longest time, I didn't understand how to look at this. And I thought that this was like stuff I was supposed to look at that was important. This part down here. And I was like, what am I looking at? I don't see what they're saying. We'll get there. Because they look at the shroud like fully, I think, and a little bit later. Makes sense for a burial wrap. Yeah, I know. I went out for a while. I was like, wait, why is it 15 feet long? But it makes sense because you gotta wrap both sides of the body. Take yourself and multiply you by 2. Anyway, all right, let's keep going.
And then I discovered there was some postgraduate work that could be done on the Shroud, and I went through that program, and he was one of my professors for that. So it became I became aware of it through the master's studies, and then it became more of a side interest, and then turned into another academic pursuit as a result of that.
And so you've spent a long time studying the Shroud, and this you have to be fascinated by it. I mean, you don't study this kind of thing for so long without being fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Now, for people who maybe don't know anything about what we're about to get into, what is the Shroud of Turin, and how did it come into, I guess, relevance? It may be the right word.
Did you guys even know what the Shroud was when you first were like getting into Christianity? I had no idea what it was for like years.
I think I heard about it on one of those like History Channel, like strange artifacts, historical mysteries.
Yeah, I don't think I had ever heard of it until I went to college. Like they like briefly discussed it because someone was talking about the stuff that our library was getting, and the Shroud was something that we were getting an image of. So I heard about it in high school back in 2014. Wow. I think I also was in high school in 2014. Heard it in a movie and doubted it because what the heck? Yes. Yeah, dude, hang on, wait. This is so good.
It's not just something that people found hidden away somewhere. This is something that's been passed around throughout the millennia. And what's the significance of this Shroud?
Well, the belief is that this is the burial shroud of Jesus, and this is what was discovered in the tomb, in the account of the discovery of the empty tomb in John 20. And it showed up, it first appears in Europe in about 1355, and it just seems to historically almost appear out of the blue. It's not explained where it came from or anything like that. The knight who showed it didn't explain it. He just presented it as the burial shroud of Jesus. And what fascinated people about it, what gave it a sense of believability is when you're looking at the shroud, if this is the first time you've ever seen it, there is a vague figure of a man on it, both the front and back figure of a man.
Okay, but you're like, hey, where's the figure of a man? I don't see it.
Just wait. Wait.
Should we wait?
Yes.
Oh, you think so?
Yes.
All right.
Leave them in suspense.
I'll leave you in suspense.
The front and the back meet in the middle. So the front side is the left side as we've presented it with the face here in the middle, and then the back side
he just kind of said it
starts in the middle and goes that way. So
I listened to this podcast and I did not pick this up when he was first talking about it because I was so engrossed with the filming equipment and the things here that I was like, by the time I was paying attention again, well, I was watching on 2x speed, that I missed it. If you guys can't see, right here is Jesus's face. You can see it actually really well from like a further, like a zoomed out point of view. These are his arms crossed over himself. Kind of. We'll get into why that's I say kind of. And then this is his legs right here. And right here. But this is his head right here. How cool is that? This is butt. Anyway.
You can see the back side of a body outline and the front side of a body outline here. It looks like there's blood stains on both sides of it.
Butt.
And that's about as much as that's about as much as anybody knew. And that's about as much as you could know. Now, there's way more stuff, obviously, visually on the Shroud than just that body. And that's because of all the different damages it's received over the years. And I can kind of walk you through what some of that is. And some of it becomes evidentially very important. But that's really all you could know about it, is that it is this mysterious burial shroud that just suddenly appears and there's a body on it. And it was very famous. It was very well known. It was not without controversy. There were some naysayers around it. It wasn't like everybody instantly accepted it. And of course, then there's controversy throughout the Reformation about relics and their authenticity and things like that. And so this was part of that conversation as well. But in 1898, it was on display in Turin, Italy, So it's usually rolled up or was folded up or is not always on display. So they would have exhibitions every so often, and so it's not very common for it to be on display. It's actually pretty rare. But when it is, it's a big deal. What's that?
Is it still to this day, or is it on display completely to this day?
It is not on display to this
Wow.
day. You can see the reliquary in a side chapel in the cathedral in Turin, the Cathedral of John the Baptist. But the reliquary, it's a high tech reliquary that controls the light and the atmosphere and things like that. But it is covered in a cloth, so you cannot see it. You can see it. It'd be it looks like a big conference table almost. So it doesn't even appear like a traditional reliquary.
I don't even think that's how you used to spell that. I think it's having a hard time picking it up. But I didn't know that St. John, the whatever, the Chapel of John. I didn't know that was in Italy. Did you guys know that was in Italy? I mean, why wouldn't it be? But like, why would it be? But why not? I don't know. You know what I mean? Anybody else? Anybody else been like, yes, I know where this is, and then you're like, it's not anywhere close to what I thought it was gonna be. I did that a lot when I was looking for like the, okay, when I went to college, the huge thing was walking the path that Jesus walked. And when they have like a whole thing, like my college would go like every single year and have people go and do it. And whenever I was like looking into it, well, one, it costs a lot of money. Like, I think the minimum was like $2,000.
Oof.
Yeah. And I think that's with some assistance that the school was gonna give. But Crab Muffin, hold your horses. Hold your horses. Hold them. Hold them. He will explain. It's okay. He's giving the prerequisite of why people are like, huh? I mean, if you think about it, we lost like 1,000 years of history. Like, were there so many perfectly built buildings in the United States before we were even supposed to be here?
I mean, in the Dark Ages, we lost a lot of our records and record keeping. The only reason we have any information about anything is because of some very dutiful monks.
Thank you, dutiful monks.
In their abbeys.
Yeah, like, I encourage you guys are like, honey, what are you talking about? What do you mean all these buildings that were in the US before people were here? And I'm like, literally look up any image of the World Fair and you tell me that they built those suckers, that whole thing out of marble in a year? You're joking. You're so funny. You're so funny.
Also, America had cathedrals in it. America was officially, quote unquote, discovered or like colonized in the 1600s.
Yeah.
So the European cathedrals were said to take between 300 and 600 years to make.
Like Notre Dame cathedrals? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
The European classical cathedrals.
Got it.
Gothic cathedrals, all that stuff. So if we're assuming 300 years on the very short end, if it was done in the 1600s, they should have just been finishing those cathedrals in the 1900s.
Right, but they were already done.
Had those cathedrals in the 1700s.
Yeah.
When America was, quote unquote, founded with the Declaration of Independence.
Make it make sense.
So it just looks like a big, long conference table covered in what looks like, a cloth for an altar. So you can't go up and see it. You can go to it, but you can't actually see it. So when it's on display, it's a very big deal. But in 1898, it was on display. And at that time, the church thought, well, it would be nice to have some kind of commemorative card or something that people can get. And so for the very first time, they did an official photograph of the Shroud. And the guy who took the photographs, Secundapia, was a local lawyer who had a camera and knew how to use it. And at that time, cameras were very expensive and photography was highly technical, so hardly anybody could afford to do it or knew how to do it. But he had one and had the know-how, and he was a supporter of the Shroud. And so,
bye, Case. Bye.
So this became very important because at the time, so everybody who remembers the era before digital phones. You know, you used to have in your camera, you had film in the back of it. You can't just like instantly take a photo.
I miss
When you have
film.
film in the back of the camera, when you take a picture of something, you have this light sensitive film in the back of the camera. And so whatever you take a picture of, whatever it is that's light turns dark on the film, and whatever is dark turns light on the film. So you have a light and dark reversal. So it's known as a negative. And that's what you take into a dark room, and then you would develop it, and then you would pass light through it, and it would flip light back around onto photographic paper. And that's how you got a picture, which was a big, long process. But the point is, what's in the back of the camera on the film is a light and dark negative. It's an exact reversal of the light and dark of what you see with the naked eye. So when Secunda Pia took this photograph, his camera was about the size of a refrigerator that you see in a motel or something, or a hotel. So it was this gigantic wooden box that with the front and back was connected by like an accordion, and that's how you focus this thing. And instead of film, it used glass plates that were about 20 inches square and covered with light-sensitive chemicals that weren't super light-sensitive. It required a long exposure to make an image. So they hired him to go take this photograph. And so after everybody who comes to see the Shroud for the day leaves, he gets in there at night. And it's in order to fit this into the frame of the camera, it's the camera had to be about 25 feet out in front of it and on top of a 10-foot tall platform. And then he had the problem of light because the cathedral didn't have any electricity at the time. So they had to bring in electric generators. And this became one of the first photographs ever taken with electric light. And to get enough light to make the picture, he did two different pictures. One was a 12-minute long exposure and one was a 20-minute long exposure. And then he takes the glass plates back to his darkroom. And when he developed them, it was completely counterintuitive because I'll show you on the screen here what he saw. The negative image of this image right here turns out to be the positive image of the body. So if, as you see on the screen over here, that
a secondary screen.
It is not there anymore. Okay, so you can see that the negative image on the Shroud.
Yeah, hang on, wait before he gets into that. So like when I first saw this, I could not for the life of me. Hang on, let me turn the subtitles off so you can see this face. These are his arms. These are, see when they say by Jesus's stripes in the text, do you guys see all of these stripes all over his body? Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? This is so cool, dude. Ah! So cool.
It was a positive image of the man. So it's absolutely counterintuitive.
Dude, I don't even care if you think this is fake, because even if it is fake and it's not the actual Shroud or whatever, it's still a depiction of Jesus, and I still think that's cool.
And not only that, so he's totally startled by this, because this is the last thing you would expect to see. But not only that, but the Shroud itself, the man in the Shroud.
Oh, do you see now? Can you see it a little bit better? Yeah, for the longest time, I could not see it. I was looking like here, which would have been like around his shoulders. I was looking here for face. I don't know why. But I was. And that you shouldn't do that because it's not there. It's in the middle.
Is not only in a positive, but you can see all sorts of details that you can't see with the negative eye. So what it means is the image that you're looking at on the Shroud with the naked eye has the same properties as a negative image of a man. So the negative image of what we're looking at with our naked eye is the positive image of the man. None of it makes sense. But not only that, but when you look at it in negative, which is the positive of the body, you can see all sorts of details that you can't see otherwise. So he believed he was the first person to see the face of Jesus in almost 2,000 years. Wow. And this became a very famous image. So the Shroud, which was already famous, just got it ramped up into, a whole new level of fame because this was an extraordinary image here. But the most interesting thing about having an image like this is now people, scientists and medical professionals could study this body and in a way that you can't over here. So it's almost like you could do a forensic analysis of the body, or at least of the photograph of the body. And so at this moment, at the moment of the first photograph, the Shroud moves outside of just being a relic, it becomes an object of scientific investigation. And so
hang on, before he gets into this, I admire this guy so much. Like, I don't know if you guys listen to like podcasts where like really intelligent people get on and they talk about like a lot of things that they know because they have studied and have done all the stuff and they've been in the places for multiple years and they have the experience and whatnot, and they try to talk about it and you're like, you're speaking to me? I know it, but I have no idea what you're saying. Yeah, very intelligent. But I am not intelligent at all, okay? I need you to explain it to me like I'm dumb or like we're on the same level of intelligence of like there is barely any. All right. You got to assume that maybe I know my ABCs. And I have the sub basis of knowledge that you have. And I think that he does a very good job about explaining things on a level that is like, one, conversational. That's cool. Not many people can do that. Especially when you're like very deep into your field. And two, he like delivers the information in a way that's like doesn't put you to sleep. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway. Fascinating. How did the camera create a positive image of a negative image? I don't know.
No. This was already a negative image.
Oh,
so
the
when
shroud
he took
itself
the photo
is a
and it
negative
made
image.
it quote unquote negative, it appeared as a positive.
Oh. So because of that would imply lots of things as to why we are not smarter than a fifth grader. No, we are not. But we do our best.
It's not merely a relic, it is an artifact. And this is one of the things that makes it unique, because there's only 2 relics that are actually artifacts.
It's okay.
Because, if you think
It's
about
okay,
any other
Grace.
relic that you know of,
He's gonna hold her hand.
alleged piece of wood from the cross, or a bone of, one of the apostles or whatever.
Hold your horses. He's gonna hold her hand. He's gonna explain it really well.
Even if they're authentic, there's no way you could demonstrate it. There's no test you could do.
Right.
And this is what makes the shroud unique, and the other cloth that we're going to talk about as well, probably. So it starts the age of scientific investigation into the shroud in 1898. And
1898.
And what it shows is this negative image that shows the positive image of the man, shows that
Hang
the
on, I
body
gotta get out of
has
the way.
been-
Hold your horses. Excuse me. I'm gonna hide behind hubby for just a second. Excuse me. Can you see it okay? Yes, you can. So I'm just gonna put this on screen for just a little bit so you can read all the stuff before I cover it again. It is explaining what they're looking at in the shroud.
May I real quick?
Yes.
So we have the wound pattern on the head, which is from the helmet of thorns. We have the shoulder abrasions from carrying the cross. We have the side wound from being stabbed. We have the buttocks not flattened because he did not die flat. He died vertical. Blood angle, I don't know what they're talking about that. I think that might also be
no, the blood angle is talking about how the blood was dripping off of him while he was alive. Yes.
The scourging is
it's
weapon?
Yeah,
I guess you could
it's the
call it?
whipping that Pilate had Jesus go through because he was really hoping that the people wouldn't crucify Christ.
Anyway, and you can see those marks all over his body.
Yeah, that's why it was so excessive.
The wrist wound, as opposed to in the palm. I don't know what the thumbs is about. Or the elongated arms, I don't remember.
They broke because of him hanging on the cross.
Gotcha. I don't remember the knee contusion.
Because of the way that his body was hanging, his knees probably dislocated.
Oh.
Yeah, being hung on a cross is very painful, both upside down and the way that Jesus was.
Yeah, Peter did not get off easy. All right.
No, Peter did not. Is this fine? Did I go too far over? I don't know. It'll be okay. Scan though. Anyway, Jesus died in a very excruciating way, and the shroud proves it, which we'll go over.
Brutalized and tortured in all the same ways that you read about that happened to Jesus in the Gospels. And
yeah, I don't know why. When I was like up until, I don't know, I probably in my 20s, did I realize, I mean, I'm still in my 20s, but my early 20s, did I realize, or maybe late teens, did I realize like just how brutally Jesus was treated? Like you see like that one movie where they like actually depicted the crucifixion.
No, Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, Passion of the Christ. I haven't seen the full movie, but I've seen clips of it, right? I don't know why I haven't seen the full movie. Probably because it's really freaking long. I should watch it. We should watch it. We should do that one day. Anyway, I had never like fully understood like how bad it was. They didn't clean the body for burial like we do. I mean, yeah, they didn't really have time. It's kind of written in the Bible like how rushed everything was. Like they had to like bury him in secret, like Joseph of Arimathea had to like do it very quickly and like. Yeah, anyway, we'll get into that. That's also explained. Oh, Joe, yes. I just got the brownie recipe.
Brownies?
Yes.
What? Where?
Here. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, and I didn't understand how brutal everything was to Jesus. Like, you know, in other movies, like depicting like being whipped and stuff, like you've seen it and you're like, oh man, that looks like bad, but like they never like it doesn't show anybody dying from it, you know. So like I've never seen it like very brutal because you know it's always stopped. Like I say that in a complaining way. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like in a way it's just like, yeah, they were rushing before the Sabbath. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah, they had limited time. They had to do it very quickly. Also, like it like the whole thing is just like you don't understand just how awful it was what they did to Jesus. Like I'm gonna cry, but like just like thinking about it, it's just like how did you do this? How did you do this? And then not pull in Elijah Jesus and like smite everybody. I mean, like he had to, right? Okay. The other night, hubby and I are reading this one book, from a pastor in Texas, and he was talking about how. Did he say it was the mystery? What like the significance of Jesus going to the cross, right? Like Jesus needing to die. Like the fact that people have like resurrected or whatever was nothing new to Satan. But like the fact that Jesus, like, have you guys listened to what it means instead of English, but like the original Hebrew and Greek, what it means? It is finished. Like it's not only like it's not just it is finished. Like his work is done. There's a really good video on it. I don't know if I can find it right now, but if I can find it again, I'll show you guys when I remember. But it's the words of like our debt is paid for.
The battle is won.
The battle is won.
Yeah, the third.
And our charges are clear. Is that I think
that's it.
I think that's it. Like the case for Christ and the crucifixion was explained in great detail. Oh, I need to read that. I need to read that. I have heard so many good things about it, and I've had like little excerpts read to me from that book, Case for Christ, but I've never actually sat down and read it. My library is gonna get extensive. Just seeing exactly what he went through on the Shroud is a lot of proof for me. For a fake, they really showed a lot of the right things you wouldn't think about the thumbs. Right. If it was a fake, they would have had intimate knowledge of how crucifixion kills you by watching themselves and recreating it. And what would the purpose of that be, to be honest? Especially in a negative image. This is why I've been open to being shown its validity.
Oh,
yeah.
Also, he gets into it later, but the way the image was formed is irreparable. Like
you can't replicate it.
It's not paint.
Yeah.
It's not dye. It's not a stain. It's the closest equivalent we have to it today is ultra high power, high frequency, ultraviolet lasers. But we're just now being able to maybe replicate that.
Yeah, in like 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy high tech. So
Yeah.
obviously they didn't have that back in the day. Unless you do think they had that back in the day, in which case we got other stuff to talk about.
So you want me to walk you through the
Please,
wounds?
yes,
Okay.
because this is where it takes it from just an image of a man to actually pointing to a historical figure.
Right.
This is where you can say, oh, this was what Christ was buried in, and it's okay. You know, there's a face there, fine, but how do we know? And
How do
we
you know?
start
Also hear that accent bury. It was buried in.
taking all this information.
Yeah.
It becomes for me undeniable.
Well, this is where it moves out of the realm of mere relic into an object of real scientific inquiry, and not just from believers, not from Christians, but from it can be. There are a lot of people who have investigated the Shroud that are not believers, and and it's a totally legitimate object of inquiry for them, and that's what it's one of the things that makes it so fascinating. So when you're looking at the positive image of the body now, we'll start at the back of the head here. So you can see
he's got a laser pointer.
what appears to be blood with the naked eye on the shroud, it shows up as white on this negative image because it's dense and it's dark, and the thing that is in reverse is the body, not the actual blood. So the body is still the body is what gets reversed. The blood it appears white on this negative now. So if you look at the back of the head area, you can see there are a number of rivulets of blood that look like they come from small superficial wounds. And if you look at the front, you see the same sort of wounds over here. And this is what you would expect to find left from a crown of thorns if the crown of thorns is not made like a wreath, but it's more the form of a helmet or a dome, which is what we have right here. It would be something more like that because there appears to be about 50 different wounds all over the head, front, back, and top.
So on that note, was there any historical evidence of anybody else receiving a crown of thorns?
No, this is a unique feature of Jesus's crucifixion. There were remember, he's being mocked for being the king of the Jews, and there were other people who were insurrectionists who were crucified, of course, but they weren't given a crown of thorns or mocked for being, a wannabe king or anything like that. This is totally unique to Jesus.
And so when we see the crown of thorns traditionally in our culture, it's always depicted as a wreath.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea where that...
Dude, it made me so mad throughout this entire thing that they did not zoom in on the thorns while they're having this discussion. Do you know how mad it made me? I was literally livid. I was like, you're talking about this thing and you're not even going to put the camera on it? They don't put the camera on it, like, at all. The Case for Christ, who's the author? That's a great question. I think it's, Lee Strobel? Yes. That's it. Mad cow. Me. Yes.
depiction came from to...
You could also look on thrift books if it might be cheaper. No, you spelled his name right. You got it. You nailed it. Atheist turned Christian.
I was wondering
wow.
why I was feeling so weird, and I realized I haven't eaten in over a day.
Yeah, my love. Are you gonna keep going?
Yeah.
Do you want me to, are you sure you don't want me to make you bone broth?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we have here is a replica, which looks more like a helmet.
I do not. If there's an
You can kind of see it behind my head. Hang on. Can you see it now? You can barely. If I, no, you. It doesn't matter. You can barely see it. This in the box. In the box is where they have it, and they do not. They
showed at one point.
Oh, it drives me nuts. But why didn't they show it during this part? Oh, it drives me nuts. Why?
I agree. But
Mr. Merkel, I don't like you for this. Why'd you do this?
What it is, I can spitball for you.
Sure.
Okay, so and this may not be the case. Okay, so a relic in Notre Dame in Paris of the crown of thorns exists there, and if you see it, it is more like a hoop, and most of the thorns are gone off of it, but that's what gets preserved. So if that really is, let's say it's
you can say it. You can say it behind his hand. It's a whole helmet. Yes. That makes me legitimately so much more angry and upset than if it was a
wreath.
A wreath. Like, it makes me so much more upset.
Because they were also smacking the crap out of him while he was wearing this thing.
Yeah. Gosh, could you imagine the guilt that they felt when he came back to life? Just, oh no. Like, what have I done? A helmet, yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that's the whole
of the spear of
what was the crown of thorns.
Longinus?
Yeah.
As in the opposite of latitude? Or lozenges, the things that you eat when your throat hurts.
No, the Roman centurion who stabbed him in the side.
Oh, it's a name. It's a name.
It's also known as the Spear of Destiny.
Oh. Makes me think of the Roman soldier at the foot of the cross. That's what we were just talking about. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I would have kept with you. My bad. My bad. Lozenges.
It may be parts of it. Okay, there's evidence just historically that thorns were broken off and sent off in different places in reliquaries. But let's say this really was an actual part of the crown of thorns. It doesn't mean it was merely this kind of wreath or halo type of shape. But in order to make the helmet, that is the base that holds the rest of the thorn branches that bend around it. So it may be that that's what is survived, if it's authentic. There's no way to know. What test are you going to do?
But I think it's something that, I mean, I've never even considered questioning, like, until I saw the replica, and I was thinking, helmet, interesting, you know? But it makes sense. I was talking to, I think I was talking to either my wife or my brother yesterday about this, and you know, it's even more violent when you think about wreath versus helmet, because they're abusing this man, and if you make this helmet, I imagine you can put a lot more pressure on it if by using a helmet, by hitting it onto the head or something like that, instead of just trying to push it down onto somebody's head. They weren't doing it gently. And so when you're talking about a man who went through a very violent death, like wearing a helmet of thorns, it seems excruciatingly painful.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, some replicas have really long thorns as well. There's several different kind of species of plants that make thorns around that area. So we don't really know what kind. You know, these are pretty modest thorns I have on here. But when you're talking about your head, it doesn't take much. No. You know, your head bleeds so easily. And so it doesn't matter if it's a big thorn or a little thorn. As long as you got thorns, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
Hi, Honey.
Sorry to get sidetracked there.
No, it's not
curiosity.
No. Another thing you see is you can see the man in the shroud has long hair, and it's.
Yeah, they probably did. And it makes me so upset. It makes me so upset. It's fine.
It's almost in the form of a ponytail. And
thank you. If the VOD exists, I mean, even if it doesn't, I'll take a video of it where I'm zoomed out so you can see the whole thing. I like it so much. Yes, he did this all for us. I can't believe it, man.
Talk more about this later. We don't know.
It makes me so emotional.
if he wore it stylistically as a ponytail or it's just gathered together for a reason I'll explain later. There's evidence of abrasions on the shoulders, and this is consistent with where abrasions would be for somebody who carried the crossbeam of a cross to a place of crucifixion. Most of the times, a place of crucifixion would have the vertical beam already there, the stipes, and so the victim would be forced to carry the crossbeam, the patibulum. They wouldn't carry the whole cross. That would weigh almost 300 pounds or so. So you just physically couldn't do it. But they would be forced most of the time to carry the crossbeam. So that's the kind of wounds that would be left. You can see that the back is.
You carry the thing that your arms are going to be attached to. I bet there's such significance to that too. Dang! Oh my gosh! Oh, I'm getting so emotional. Ah! 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 Ah!
Covered in these hash marks that you also see on the front, and this is consistent with wounds that would be left from a Roman scourge, but it wouldn't be a scourge like, so scourges could have a couple different forms. So a scourge would be a wooden handle, and it would have thongs of leather coming off the end of it, 3 of them that are about 18 inches long, and then at the end of it, sometimes they had sharp things embedded in the end, like you see in Passion of the Christ. So it's, you know, pieces of glass or metal or rock or whatever that would embed in the flesh of the victim and then strip away flesh, and it was very violent and brutal, and people died from.
I had someone try to tell me there was no proof that God is real, and like, ooh, I wish Twitter didn't have limit my characters. I don't understand how people say that. Like, how can you be in the position of, like, God is not real? You have a concept of good and evil. That has already existed. Like, that's proof enough. What do you mean? It's like a Lincoln log in your arms where it binds it to the hole. No, poet. He was carrying the beams that his arms were going to be attached to. I mean, I guess in a way it's like a Lincoln log, a really fucked up Lincoln log. True. It also makes me like think like, you know, like until Holy Spirit comes, like you cannot perceive the truth. But if you can perceive the truth even a little bit, Holy Spirit is already speaking to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, to deny a sense of spirit is like denying a sense of sight or taste. I mean, like, but like you think it's so frustrating because like as a society in America right now, we are so spiritual, but I'm like, you want everything but the thing that you need. Like Christianity is not like any other religion. People will lie and be like, oh, every religion is the same or whatever. And I'm like, no, it's not. It literally isn't. It's the only one. It is the only one that tells you that you are incapable. There is nothing that you can do. Which some people get really mad at. I used to get really mad at it when I was a kid. So like, I don't know. As an adult now, it doesn't make me mad at all. And I'm just like, thank God. Thank God it's not up to me. Are you kidding? I'd fail. There's no way. Like, I couldn't do it for Buddhism. I couldn't be a good enough Shintoist. I couldn't be a good enough Muslim? I couldn't do it all. No, never.
I'm sorry, we checked your performance evaluation.
Awful.
We're gonna need you to turn in your beads by the end of the week.
Yeah, dude. Super frustrating because I used to be these people. Yeah, Bunny, it really is. It really is frustrating because, especially when you come from a place that you used to be like them. I'm too derpy to say myself. Drew, I don't understand why people are so reluctant. I really want to be able to speak to a lot of people and allow them to understand, like, this is the best thing for you. You don't have to understand it. It's okay. Understanding comes with effort and time. But the fact that, like, the creator of the universe intimately knows you, knew you before you were born, and decided that you would be on Earth to experience what it is to have free will and freely choose to love him, like, why wouldn't you? You know, the very creator of the universe wants you to know him. Why? Why wouldn't you say yes? The only thing in this entire universe that fully knows you and fully loves you wants you to know him, and you say no? That doesn't make any sense to me, gang. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's really easy to, oh God. Gotta be careful. We can try all we want, but in the end, it's the Holy Spirit's job. True. Yeah, we're just planting seeds. Yeah, I mean, like, thank God it's not up to us. Holy cannoli. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that all I get to do is be like, have you considered?
Have you considered the wonder of the stars?
Have you considered? Because you can. You know what is mind-boggling me right now? So many Christians are on so many different levels, spiritually, emotionally, like in terms of knowledge and intelligence and stuff, in terms of like the Bible and like I don't want to say spirituality because I feel like people will co-opt that into something I don't mean, but like, I don't know, to deny the spiritual nature of Christ and yourself is, I think, damaging to who we are. But that's okay. Anyway, people will have different levels of knowledge and stuff, and still, it doesn't matter. They will, as long as they believe in Christ, they will get to heaven.
Yeah, God meets you where you're at.
And I think that's crazy. Isn't that like I will listen to these preachers, and they are in the United States performing miracles, literally performing miracles in front of audiences. And then there's like Joe Schmo down the street who people would call a lukewarm Christian, and he's still gonna get into heaven just as much as that preacher who is literally performing miracles. That's like, wow. That's profound. I don't know. I just kind of like, I've been like kind of like sitting on that for like the last 2 weeks, maybe. Mm-hmm. Just like trying to like sit and like be like, you know, it's okay that I don't know everything. And it's okay that some other people know more than me. And it's okay that some people know less than me. Because as long as you know Christ and you have accepted him and you have repented, he's gonna be there for you. It doesn't matter. And you're gonna be in heaven at the end of the end of the age. It doesn't matter. An ad break. Ads. I'm having a huge dialogue right now. It's crazy.
Well, until they get back from ads, let me just appreciate the fire real quick. It's really nice.
Oh, my little arson. Wow.
Oh, I was about to say something that would reveal my first name.
Don't do that. Is there an ad break really happening? Hey man, yeah. Sorry, I missed chat a little bit on my dialogue. So it's a free floating log, and you get your arms nailed to it. No. Oh. No. Poet. No.
I don't.
It'd be one of those 3 logs, you know what I mean? The one that has the bump in the middle and the ones on the end? That you never know what to do with?
Yeah, they're for making rooms.
You know, those are for windows.
Among other things. I agree, Zion. I agree.
Sanctioned arson. Arson is great. Pinned. Reminds me of the parable of the workers who all went to work in the vineyard at different times despite all the effort. They were all paid the same. Yes.
I don't know.
Poet, let me know when you're out.
Yeah, he doesn't know that we...
You can see me in the window. I gotta pee. Oh, he's out. I came out just for that. Well, I still gotta pee, so. I have to perform sanctioned arson every morning and every night at the furnace. Nice. Hi out. No! Excuse me. Oh no, I almost left with my headphones. That would have really hurt. Be nice to chat, my love.
I refuse.
What? I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
Alright guys, so I bought 2 candles at the grocery store. The first one is Woodland Path. It's cedar and pine. The second one is called Fall Festival with essential oils, spices, and soft musk. It is like the perfect blend of pumpkin spice, but also apple cider. It's so good. It's so good. I'll post pictures of the candles if you guys want to buy it. There was also another one that I wanted to buy called like warm birch vanilla, I think. I don't know. But ooh, they all smelled great. They all smelled fantastic. Oh yeah, I'm a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Don't you know? I'm absolutely savage.
Are you telling chat state secrets?
A whipboard?
A whipboard? What's a whipboard?
I don't know.
Reminds me of the guy that insured a box of cigars and claimed they were lost in a series of small fires. He got arrested for 30 counts of arson and insurance fraud. A whiteboard? What's a whiteboard?
You mean whiteboard?
Whiteboard?
Like dry erase markers?
I really wish that I could have a little whiteboard that you guys could draw on, but I'm afraid you guys would draw bad things.
Yeah.
Scourging. But another way that a scourge could be made is with dull pieces at the end. So things like sheep bones or like almost like lead sinkers at the end, and there'd be pairs of them or 3 of them at the end, and they would tenderize the skin and create these very deep contusions that would eventually break the surface.
Yes, it's a whiteboard. I remember a lawyer judge telling that story at some award ceremony. Amazing. I don't know why I replied to Space Bros, but it was supposed to apply to Grace. Wrong burple. Wrong orple.
That's what you see are these barbell shapes all over. And so we have a Roman scourge replica over here with the lead weights at the bottom, which would be...
Again, no zooming in. No separate zoom in on the things in the middle. Why? Why? That would have been an appropriate pan, separate camera. I know they have multiple. They could have used the one over by Merkel. I don't know why they didn't. This drives me crazy. How dare you not talk and show the thing while you're talking about it? That's crazy. Or at least not afterwards. What the heck?
Possibly what was used to make these marks. There's over 200 on the back, over 150 of them on the front, and you can't see the sides of the man. And these are the wounds that show up. So you got to figure with a weapon like that, there were marks made that didn't show up at first. So he's probably whipped more than 350 times to get those wounds. You can see the rear end of the man in the shroud is not flattened out under the body weight, which indicates that the body's in rigor mortis. So the muscles have stiffened up, which happens between 2 and 48 hours after death. And it just depends on environmental factors, but it shows that the man in the shroud is dead. If you go over to the front side, there is an apparent blood wound here between the 5th and 6th rib. See how the blood is, the way it's dripping out, and you can see it drip into the small of the back here. It's not being pumped out. It's oozing out, which indicates the man in the shroud is dead. The heart's not beating. And if you look very closely right at that front angled tip there, that would be the wound. And you can see it close up over here. That is the size of a Roman.
It was over 300 times.
No, 40 lashes is a pretty common punishment.
But we read in the Bible that Pontius Pilate did it excessively. It wasn't a normal punishment. It was noted specifically how it was excessive. I'm like pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it says that. Hang on, I gotta pull up my scripture now. 9 times 40 equals 360. Wow. Hang on. Where would I even look? How many lashes did Jesus get? It only suggests that it's that in the Jewish law, but they didn't follow Jewish law because the Romans punished him, not the Jews. Hi, Lo-Fi.
Also, a little bit of exegesis, which is interpretation of scripture, if you're unfamiliar with the term. Pilate did not want to kill him, but he did want to satisfy the mob and, their sense of justice. So he potentially hit him with the 39 lashes or 40 lashes multiple times.
Right.
To satisfy the mob. But ultimately they couldn't be satisfied and he was crucified.
Yeah. Is that satisfactory enough an explanation?
Spear tip, which we have a replica of right there, about 4 centimeters. And this...
Why not pan? Why not look over?
I'll come back to that in a minute. You can see that there's a wound on the wrist, which is right in the location that would support the body weight of a crucifixion victim. So the nail...
It was a whip with 9 cords bound together, but he just explained that Roman weapons only had 3. Cat o' nine tails, while they might have been around, weren't used by the Romans.
They use something called a scourge.
Yeah, scourges only have 3. He just explained that. Let me Google when cat o' nine tails was used. Cat o' nine tails.
I feel like that's more recent.
I know.
Pine tails. I love pine tails.
Wait. When was it used? 17th to 19th century. That's way after Jesus.
Yeah. I say it feels like a pirate thing.
I was gonna say it feels like a British thing.
I mean, same difference, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Privateers.
Google said it was not specified, but 40 was a death sentence. 40 minus 1 was not a death sentence. Also, Roman scourges were multi-ended. Yeah, that's what he just went over that. But the point of Pilate's punishment to Jesus was so that he wouldn't have to go to the cross, that he would be so bad that they wouldn't want to do it. And still, the Jewish people were like, yes, kill him. So, the 39 times, however, times that they had him done, like lashed, makes sense. Because you really wanted him, like they really wanted him dead.
Would go in at the top of the wrist, and
This is gonna be such a long stream.
that's where it has to be in order to support the
Yes.
body weight. If you put the nail in the palm, the body just slips right through it. So the nail would go through there. We have a replica nail right there, so you see a wound in the correct place for crucifixion, and you also see blood running down toward the elbow on the backside of the arms. So the arms are about in a 15 to 20 degree angle, which is the location of the arms in a crucifixion victim. Also, you cannot see the thumb at all because the nerve damage from the nail going through the wrist would cause the thumb to turn in, probably. So you can't see the thumb there. And then
Yeah, that's
look how
it. That's why it describes the thumb, is because the piercing through would have, and more often than not, cause the thumbs to turn in.
anatomically correct everything is, except the arms are too long. The arms are too long probably for a couple of reasons. First, the body is not laying flat. The man is in rigor mortis, so the knees are slightly bent and he's slightly rocked forward, still maintaining mostly the position of the cross, even though his arms have been moved in. So his arms would be moved down his body a little bit. But secondly, there is evidence in one of the shoulders that we can see that the shoulders are dislocated, which is what usually happens to a crucifixion victim, because they are laid out at the spot of crucifixion. They're laid out on the crossbeam, and they're nailed to the crossbeam, and then the crossbeam is lifted up and it's slid into place onto the vertical one, and that jolts the shoulders probably to the point where they dislocate. Even if they don't dislocate at that point, they may dislocate while the victim is hanging there. And so what happens is the chest begins to crush the lungs, and the victim can't breathe. They're asphyxiating. And
yeah, Bunny brings up a good point. If you squeeze your wrist where the nail would go, your thumb usually curls in. Yeah, wait, I do. My hubby does that trick all the time when my fingers are all messed up because of my excessive drawing or crochet.
plus the mechanism of the physical mechanism of breathing, where the diaphragm is constricting in order to exhale, everything gets reversed. So at this point, the victim is asphyxiating and they cannot exhale. So the instinct is to pull up on the wrist in order to lift the weight off the chest, but they can't do it because their shoulders are dislocated. They don't have any leverage. Even if their shoulders aren't dislocated, I mean, think about how hard that is. You can only do that for a few times. And so the victim's going to die less than 15 minutes from asphyxiation. So the only thing they would have to give themselves leverage to lift the weight off of the lungs is when the nail is going through the feet. And so they press up on the nail, and then they are able to exhale and then get a breath and come back down again. And so the cycle begins. And you can see that there is blood on both the front and back of the feet that is in the spot of where a nail would be.
Wow. What are the, because I was always told that, I don't want to say I heard somewhere that most crucifixion victims were tied to the cross and not nailed. Is there statistical odds of this being even more so Christ
I'm so
being
glad
nailed
he
to a
asked this
cross versus
question.
being tied to the cross, or was it always something that people were nailed to the cross?
There's no manual for how to do these things. So there's variety. There's variety in how the cross was formed. Some are capital T's, some are lowercase t's, some are X's, some are just, there's no T at all. They're crucified on a pole. Some are crucified on a tree. There's all sorts of ways it can be done. So there's no set standard way to do it necessarily. However, you're right. There were a couple different ways ropes were used. Sometimes nails weren't used at all. They were only ropes, because if you think about it, the nails through your wrists or your feet, that doesn't kill you. Being put in that position, you are in a position where you're slowly asphyxiating, and all sorts of other factors start to come into play as well that we'll talk about in a minute. Sometimes there were nails used and ropes at the same time because there was so much pressure put on the nails by the body that the wrist would pop off the nail heads. The body would flop forward. And so sometimes ropes were used just to fortify the arms to the nails. So it's a yes, no, and both. Wow.
I mean, the way we're talking about this crucifixion, I mean, if anybody has seen The Passion of the Christ, they can visually see it, but maybe anybody who maybe hasn't seen it, it was made, 20 years ago. This really kind of paints a picture of how violent this crucifixion process was. I mean, I had never heard anybody talk about the shoulders being...
I don't know if you guys can see. This is the spear. This is the nail. I forgot what he said this was. What this wood part, what the artifact is. I forgot what he said it was. I'm a good listener.
Dislocated during the process.
Gosh, that nail, dude. That's crazy.
And, as a sports fan, you see players have a dislocated shoulder and you're just like, oh, that looks painful. Try having both of them while they're trying to kill you. I mean, it's such a painful process that I think growing up, you have this almost like censored version of it where it's just like, we knew he was tied to or nailed to the cross, but it was just, tap, tap, nailed to the cross, and he hung there and probably starved to death or something. Like, it wasn't like this violent thing until you start really looking into the details of it. And the Shroud not only backs it up, but visually gives you that depiction of what is documented as that what happened to him.
Yeah, it makes it much more concrete.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It puts the horror back into it for sure.
Yeah. So we have all these markings, the lashes on the body, the blood marks. What else? What other things about this would you like to go into? As far as I know, you talk about the statistical odds of these wounds being on this body versus maybe other crucifixions and stuff. But I find that very interesting because
you want to know the odds?
I do.
All right, let's do the odds,
dude.
So,
the odds... I'm so glad you guys are here for this. I have never seen anybody break this down. I am so glad they do this. This is so helpful to understand just how anomalous this is. Odds, tism time. Numbers.
Come from several people have run the odds here, and of course these are estimates that are done. And the way the odds get run are several features. Specific features of the shroud are assigned statistical probabilities, and then you multiply them all together, and that's how you get the odds. So I believe the oldest ones come from that professor I had, Gary Habermas, who co-wrote a book with the communications director for that group of scientists I mentioned, the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or also called the STIRP team. They have 2 books together, and so they calculated the odds because, a lot of people got crucified. So what are the odds that this is Jesus, if so many people were crucified in the ancient world? So to answer that, they chose these 7 different features and gave them probabilities, which they then...
Hang on. Can you guys see this bottom number? This is the final statistic for all of these things. It being Jesus. 1 in 82,944,000. Okay.
Made even more conservative. So these are incredibly conservative numbers in their view. So they, for example, they show the crown of thorns, they give that a 1 in 400. Considering that's the only person we know of crucified with the crown of thorns, that's pretty conservative. They show that the shroud has no evidence of decomposition. So they're looking for liquefaction, putrefaction coming out of the mucous membrane in the nose and the mouth. That hasn't happened. There's no evidence of that. They give that a 1 in 10. The spear wound in the side, they give 1 in 27. Remember, that was done by a Roman soldier in order to see if Jesus was dead or not. Well, he didn't have to use a sword, and he didn't have to do it in that spot, or he didn't have to use a spear. So, he could have done a test in
I think this is the statistical probability that it's him.
bunch of different ways, but this is how he does it. They give it a 1 in 27. We just talked about ropes or not on the crucifixion. So some people, again, were crucified without nails, and some had ropes even and nails. There is neither on the man in the shroud, and you don't read about either in the Gospels. They give that a 1 in 2. Scourge marks, they give 1 in 2. Almost everybody who was condemned to crucifixion was scourged beforehand. The reason being it weakened the victim significantly because, like I said, people died during scourging. So you had blood loss and shock and all sorts of things that you're suffering from as a result of scourging. But that weakened a victim when they were put on to the cross. So if a crucifixion victim was not scourged beforehand and they were well hydrated and well nourished and in good health, they could last upwards of a week. Wow. It took that long to die for some people. And so the scourging, as brutal as it was, and it was brutal, in a way, it lessened the time on the cross. I mean, not in a way, that's what it was designed to do. In Jesus's case, the scourging that Pilate gives him is to get him out of the crucifixion. Remember, he's not condemned. He's not scourged because he's condemned to the cross. He's scourged to keep him off the cross. And yet the crowd still wants him crucified. So he ends up having both anyway. So more people were scourged before they were crucified than not. So they give that a 1 in 2. That's why that one is conservative. No broken legs on the man in the shroud or in the gospel accounts. The idea here is that if a Roman soldier wanted to hasten the execution of someone, they would break their shins so they couldn't raise themselves off the, they could breathe and they would die within a few minutes. And we
That's
read
crazy.
that happening to the 2 other people crucified with Jesus, but not with Jesus. So 1 in 3. And then the most conservative number is the buried in a linen shroud, which they give 1 in 8. The reason why that's the most conservative is because when people were crucified during the time of insurrection, they were just left on the cross to rot as a warning to not challenge Rome. And when during peacetime, the crucifixion victims were almost never given back to the family. Instead, they were thrown into a shallow common grave, and they were just erased from history, essentially. However, there were times when the bodies were given back, but it was very rare. So think about it this way. Crucifixion was a punishment for about 1,000 years, about 750 years of that where the Romans did it. And during that 1,000-year period, there's an estimated 2 billion people who lived. So half of them are men. And just the best guess anybody's got is that about 1 in 100 men were crucified. Wow. So there were a lot of crucifixion victims.
That's
and
a
yet,
lot.
archaeologically, there are only 4 remains of crucifixion victims that have ever been found. Only 2 are from the 1st century, and only 1 is from the area around Jerusalem. So the bodies were
Wow.
rarely given back, although it did happen because we've got evidence of one. And in fact, the heel bone of that victim with the
That's crazy. Only 4 victims were ever. That's crazy. 4 bodies from crucifixion. Wow. Wow. I did not soak that in the first time I heard this. That's crazy. And also horrific. What?
nail going through it. We have a museum quality replica right there. That's the thing at the end there. So so it did happen. And but it was far less common than 1 in 8.
Overreaching message. Don't mess with Rome. That's what I'm hearing.
Which is what they've assigned it. And the thing is, you can't bury a body in the linen shroud unless you get the body back, and people very rarely got the body back. So you take those all those numbers and you multiply them together, and you get 1 in almost 83 million. It could be anybody other than Jesus. The other number I'll show you comes from Bruno Barbaras. He's a mathematical physicist who is an expert in the Shroud of Turin, and he ran some of the same features. He gives crown of thorns 1 in 5,000, no decomposition.
Hang on, let me move myself. Let me cover these letters now. These numbers. Can you see?
1 in 500. He includes the feature that the victim carried the cross. He gives that 1 in...
conservative estimation is 82 million.
Yes.
2. Not everybody was in good enough shape to carry the crossbeam at that point. The spear wound, he gives 1 in 10. He's more conservative. He has hasty burial on here. So the condition of the body of this, what appears to be a Jewish man, is not, it's not totally in conformity with the Jewish burial customs of the 1st century. So it looks like it's partially done so that maybe somebody's going to come back later and do it for whatever reason. So it looks like a partial burial, that they're not quite done. In his view, he gives that a 1 in 20. Crucified with nails, that's the same thing as without ropes. And then he gives the linen shroud 1 in 100. With those numbers, you get 1 in 200 billion that it could be anybody other than Jesus, which is a statistic.
That's crazy. 1 in 200 billion? Gang. Versus the 1 in 83 million % chance that it's Jesus. Gang, those are both either statistical, like being super conservative, or being, in my opinion, more, with a B, 1 in 200 billion chance it's Jesus. That's crazy. This whole thing, this statistical breakdown was enough for me to be like, oh, well, I can't argue with that. So
statistical certainty.
Yeah.
So for whatever that's worth.
According to his numbers, it's like impossible to it not being Christ.
Right. Now you're in OJ's glove. Blood.
Yeah.
It's hard to plausibly.
I have goosebumps. I know. Dude, when I learned about this, and I was just like, why don't more people, like, study this? I feel like this is, like, a huge thing that would be, like, on the list of things to study and to prove, right?
That's incredible. So,
Chelsea, we're completely learning about why it is most likely his shroud.
A mathematician.
Which we haven't even gotten to the biggest part that I'm so excited to. But this is really long. We're only 39 minutes in. This is 2.5 hours long. And we're already almost an hour and 40 minutes in. This is going to be a long day.
He's a mathematical physicist.
And he was a believer in the shroud.
He is a believer in that. He's still alive. He was one of my professors.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. And so it's actually his numbers are a lot less conservative. And
well, let's say he's overestimating it. I'm not saying that, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say he's overestimating it by a factor of 10.
Yeah.
Well, that just lessens it to 1 in 20 billion. Let's say he overestimates it by 100. Now it's 1 in 2 billion, right?
Yeah.
So it's if these numbers are anywhere close to representative of.
Okay, to bring this, because you're probably all like, well, that doesn't mean anything. So let's make it a little bit understandable. Like, should we use, let's say, what is the probability of someone getting cancer? 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women, okay? let's make it really, let's make it a crazy kind of cancer.
Try getting struck by lightning.
All right, let's do struck by lightning. That one's fun. Everybody loves this statistic. 1 in 15,300, or 1 in 1.2 million % chance to get struck by lightning.
Percent chance. 1.2 million % chance. That's a guarantee.
Yes. You and Bunny are on the same. What is it called? What?
Wavelength? Same
I was
page?
but I was gonna say brain cell. That's it. You guys are sharing the brain cell right now. I have to leave in 2030. No! Struck by lightning 3 times in 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struck by lightning multiple times, I think that God really doesn't like you.
Get smote.
Get smote. Or he does. Apparently, if you live in Texas, Florida, or Colorado, you are more likely to get struck.
Okay, well, Florida is the
They get storms
capital.
like every day.
Well, not just storms. They're the lightning capital.
Of the world?
Capital?
Capital?
Capital. Capital.
Oh, fancy.
Of the world.
Uh-huh.
Some people argue it's that one place in South America, that one like bay where there's like a storm happening all the time.
Schulte, why would they have mentioned the Shroud? Why they didn't even mention, like, if Jesus wore, like, clothes? And we all know he wore clothes.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really mention Jesus, like, using the bathroom, but he probably used the bathroom.
And they probably kept the garment. Like, I imagine Mary would have.
Like we have to think about the cultural context of the time. He was Middle Eastern Jewish man of the 1st century, and we can look at the customs of that time period.
Gatorland.
Gatorland.
Oh no, I'm getting rated. I was looking at Gatorland. Hi gang, we're learning about the Shroud of Turin. How is stream, Mia? Hello everybody. Hello.
Thank you.
They gambled his clothes to soldiers. That's crazy. I think I read that. Well, it's Himnachi and Flash and Levin Lowe's. Hello. Oh no! Mods! Refund that man! My stuff is broken. I got a new model and I didn't fix it. I got updated to a 2.0 last night. Oh my gosh! No! Sorry, I just saw a kitten fall down the stairs. Welcome, Raiders. You guys all know who I am. Do I need to introduce myself? Hi, I'm Honey Highland. I'm a Highland cow Vtuber. This is my husband, Hubby Highland. Everybody say hello, hubby. Hello, father. It is nice to see you. Thank you for coming home. Let's see. I'm in my Christmas outfit. Wow.
I have my name.
I was saying that you're home.
Oh, I am home.
Yes. Luke's banner Reading would be most likely to. I agree. Let me see. I would say that would be the case. However, I just don't think that they thought it was necessary to include it. What? This is the 4 Gospels in parallel. It talks about all of the different things that happen in all the Gospels and where they are written
Like, they
twice.
can't see that. You're like, let me check my documents.
I have a physical document. I'm ready.
Yeah, pay this.
Grandma, let me have it.
Pay this,
Hello,
please.
hello, Bubba Barnes. How you doing? Hello, father. Hello. Respect your father. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I would argue, like, with how much they needed to write, was it important that it was mentioned that they kept the Shroud? I would argue no.
Is the Shroud crucial to your salvation?
No, it's not. So whether or not this is actually the Shroud, it doesn't matter. It's just really freaking cool.
How much salt does Jesus want in his food? Do we know?
Do you think?
No,
well,
it's not necessary.
We
for
do
salvation.
know that Jesus liked good smells.
Yes.
God appreciates a good smell, and he appreciates good food. Not that he needs to eat, but that he can eat.
Hello, father.
I mean, Jesus needed to eat because he was a human being, but anyway.
The actual odds, then it's pretty compelling.
Wow, that's incredible. So I come out here to talk to you about the Shroud, and you introduced me to a whole other piece of the puzzle. This piece of fabric that I had heard whispers of, but I had no idea I was going to get a chance to look at today. That actually complements the Shroud, and in my mind, doubles down the authenticity of the Shroud.
This is what I was trying to talk to you guys about, and I forgot
like
what it was
we gotta
called.
talk about that because if we're here trying to show people.
Wow, Mindframe, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy to have you here.
Why the Shroud is what tradition and history says it is. I think this other cloth.
B. John, name Peter is the one who cut off the ear. Right about you. How you beat Peter to the tomb. Exactly. It's important. Oh, that's like such a cute leaflet wave. Ah, it's so cute.
Holds a huge key to that.
Hello.
Okay, so what do you know about the other cloth? Where have you heard about the other cloth?
You. So essentially, it's been you. I've heard. I'm drawing a blank. What it's called again? What's it called?
The Sudarium
of
Oviedo.
What?
Yeah, which sounds like it's like out of Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah, and so I mean, I guess the only thing that I've ever heard of it would be out of Scripture, but historically,
Leaflet does have some great emotes. Also, John the disciple who Jesus loved. Wasn't John like the youngest disciple?
Yes.
That would be so like him to write it down. It's important. That's important to a teenager. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course the youngest. Of course the youngest.
Well, yeah. Let the kids come to him. They are, the kingdom is theirs first. Yes.
stuff. I don't
Shroud
recall.
story of testing takes a whole book to go over. Yes. We've had the joy of going over the probability of it. And of like depicting if it's Jesus on it. We haven't gotten into like further stuff, but we're only 40 minutes in, so I'm imagining we'll get to it after this, probably.
Hearing people talk about it a whole lot.
So in Scripture, we read about a face cloth that was found at the same time as the burial cloth in John 20. So when Peter and John go into the tomb, they find the burial clothes, and then they find the face cloth laying to the side. And you see that in John 20, 5-7. That's the account of it. And where we see face cloth in English, the Greek word is sudarion, and that's a loan word from Latin, which means sudarium. And a sudarium is just a sweat cloth. That's what the word means. And in the first century Roman Empire, most of it was really hot and really dirty, and it was just something.
No, you shouldn't base your faith on it. No. It's just further proof of like what we know happened to Jesus. If it's legit, which we'll get to why I think it's legit later. But yeah, no, absolutely not. You should base your salvation from what happened in the Bible.
And you carry it around to kind of keep yourself clean. You know, it's almost like, you know, football quarterback with their.
That would be like Joey from Outback Night believes in Jesus, so I believe in Jesus because he believes in Jesus. It's more legit than Shards of the Cross, which he also argued for because we cannot we can't date the shards. What's up, Scurvy? A mystery. Ooh. It should just be more proof of our faith. Yes, your faith should be in Christ, never a relic or historical proof. Yes, you should never put your faith in relics or artifacts. They do nothing except for bolster the truth that is in Christ Jesus. And only Christ can do anything for you, not relics or artifacts or dead bodies, nothing. No, none of them can do anything for you. It is only Christ. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The problem with the NASA testing? Oh, NASA did testing? I didn't know NASA did testing on the stuff. That's weird. Weird cold stuff on the people involved. Oh, even if one wants to say the Shroud is fake, the way non-Christians responded to testing is utterly wild. Oh, biblical archaeology really is great. I've told you so, though. It's funny. 1960s. A lot of things happened in the 60s. Did you see the repair jobs the Crusaders did the Holy Lands? No?
They're wiping their hands on their towel, right? That's
I'm
stuck into their
scared.
uniform. It's kind of like that. You can imagine. It's about the size of a pillowcase. It is just kind of a low quality piece of linen, and this face cloth is.
I'm gonna go on a side tangent really quick. Why was linen so easily accessible now? I mean, then, but now if you want to get linen, it costs like 80 bajillion dollars.
It was like the only option back in that
Hush.
day. That or wool.
Hush. I still don't like how it's so expensive. Why? Linen is such a wonderful fabric. I love sewing with it. I love wearing clothes with it. I love linen, but it is like exorbitantly expensive. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Believed to have been wrapped around the head of Jesus.
It cost that back then too? Sad. Then how was everybody wearing linen? They didn't understand what it was supposed to look like, so they made it look like a normal spear at the time, not in the manner of a Roman spear. More TED Talks? Linen sheets. Oh, linen sheets. Especially in the summer. Glorious. Yes. So good. And then, linen shirts. Linen dresses in the summertime are just peak. I'm afraid they're the best.
Linen beach pants.
Beach pants.
Linen beach pants.
You wore pants to the beach?
A full linen suit.
Ooh, could you imagine wearing socks at the beach? Awful. We're not gonna go there.
Died on the cross. And there is a city in Spain, in northern Spain, called Oviedo.
Yes.
It's about 200,000 people.
Joseph
and
Theo
the
was
cathedral
rich.
there
Yes, he was.
believes they have the sudarium that was wrapped around Jesus's head when he died on the cross. And so we have a replica of that as well. And there is no image on it like there is on the shroud, but there are a bunch of stains on it. And the stains, once you kind of familiarize yourself with them, they match what you see on the shroud. It's pretty fascinating. The stains map to both the face and the wounds on the back of the shroud in a pretty compelling exact way. So the sudarium is the only other relic that has kind of transcended that realm of relics and become an object of scientific inquiry as well, regardless of what you believe. Well, regardless of religious convictions, you can study this as a scientist. And one of the things that has been discovered is that, well, okay, in the 1978 investigation of the shroud, the stuff that looks like blood on the shroud, okay, this is one of the things they had to figure out, is it really blood? Turns out it's actually blood, and it's human blood, and it's type AB. And that's the rarest blood type, but it is 3 times more common.
Do you guys know what your blood type is? Anybody an O positive? Anybody a universal donor? B positive? I'm an A positive, the closest thing I'll get to that grade in my life. Nope, you don't know? You're an O. Are you a universal donor, Jack? Wow. Mine is probably radioactive. I mean, if you think about it hard enough, it probably will become radioactive. Isn't O negative the universal donor? I thought it was O positive. I might be wrong. I'll be wrong on that one. That's okay. Hang on.
It has an O in it.
It does have, it is one of those. Universal blood donor. O negative, you're right. It is O negative. I thought it was O positive. Why O positive not capable?
Yeah, O positive can only get O positive.
Oh, O positive is the special one that only it can get. Oh, I see. All right, wrong special. Oh, you're both O positive? Then you guys could freely give blood to each other. That's nice. It's not even in my chart. Grace, you go to the doctor so often. Next time they do a blood test on you, you'd be like, hey, what's my blood type? AB is universal recipient. Wow. Imagine Joseph afterwards. Well, I guess I have a tomb again. It's not being used anymore. Yeah, he was probably like, oh, sweet.
In Mediterranean Jews than it is in Europeans. So it's also post-mortem blood, which they can tell because the under UV
oh
light,
my gosh, AB being the universal recipient, and that's the blood type that Jesus had? God is so funny. That's so good. I'm only gonna do it in March. Good, you should. You should know. They can. Matt, they do. They do it all the time. You can ask, and they will let you do it. They literally can't not prevent you. If you are if you're inquiring enough, they will be like, oh yeah, it's really easy. It's one of the easiest blood tests to do. I did a test myself in school once, and it looked like O negative, but the negative might have been positive. Oh. Interesting. I remember when we were learning about it in school, back when we were learning about all the like different genes and stuff, and we made a monster. That was how we learned how to do gene splicing and whatever back in middle school.
That the serum is separated from the red blood cells. So they know it's postmortem blood, and they also know that the blood coming out of the side wound here is it's a mixture of blood with pulmonary edema, 6 parts pulmonary edema and 1 part blood. That's the fluid that builds up in the lungs during asphyxiation. And so that corresponds with what a crucifixion victim is suffering. And when you look at the sudarium and the stains on the
I remember going really hard on mine, trying to make sure that it didn't look ugly. Grace, I'm sorry that you have to deal with all the applications. I'm sorry. Bunny, did you get to color yours? We did. We got to color ours. I remember, like, you could either have, like, curly hair or, like, multiple eyes. Yeah.
sudarium, those stains turn out to be made by human blood. That's type AB, and is postmortem blood.
Cleaners.
And,
neat.
And is 6 parts pulmonary edema and 1 part blood, with the exception of the what appears to be.
I don't know that I have TTS for you guys. I've never figured out how to set that up. I don't know how other people do it. I'm being so honest. I don't know how that. Once I figure that out, though, I will turn it on, because I think that's fun. I would also like to not have to read out everything all the time. Do you have a Stream Elements account? I think I do. I think I do. Yes, I do. Just casually making a monster look pretty through eugenics? Yes, I did. It loaded? Okay, good. I was like, I thought I do. I wasn't sure if I was thinking of, what's the other one? Not Stream Elements, but the other one that's like it. Streamlabs? Is that what it is? I can't remember. That's the one I don't have. Hopefully I don't dox myself again. I tried to change it, but I don't know if I did. Oh boy. Anyway, alright. Continuing on. Nope, I clicked the wrong thing again. Good job, me.
Where it touched the back of the head, and in that case, it's lifeblood. So it was actually blood that was shed while the victim was still alive.
That's incredible. And so this behind me gives us a direct link to the Shroud.
It seems to, yes.
Okay, so am I taking a liberty of saying that?
Well, there's compelling evidence for the authenticity of both of these things, but there's not.
Don't dox the honey. Yes, I tried to change it, but for some reason my PayPal, even though it's my business account, it still tells everybody my real name, and I'm like, but I have it registered under a different name. Why are you telling people my real name? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, bye, Mia. Bye. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if there's anything to fix. I don't know. I don't understand why it's broken. I don't understand. Every other person that has a PayPal business, it says their business. But for me, it's like, have you considered your real name? And I'm like, oh, cool. There might be a display name setting. I thought so too. But no, I can't, because they need my legal stuff for documentation and all that jazz. I do. I have the first name set to Honey Island. I do. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Wow, you didn't have to do that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Wow. I don't know how to feel right now. That's so sweet. You didn't have to do that. I really appreciate that, though. Merry Christmas. I'm gonna stream on Christmas, I think. think that's the vibe. That's what I want. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I gotta keep going. We're gonna be here forever.
Dead certain like proof.
Sure,
There's
okay.
always going to be wiggle room.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you hear me talk about the shroud, I'm convinced it's Jesus. But I'm not 100% certain. But I'm next door to it. But if it turns out to not be, nothing in my theology is,
Sure.
or destroyed or anything like that. Okay, my faith doesn't depend on whether this is real. But I only refer to this as the man on the shroud.
Yes. See, it's very important making you. And yeah. Mooey Calmus. Mooey Calmus. Yes. PayPal may show your personal name instead of your business name if your business account details are not fully configured, or if there's a mismatch between your business name and your bank account information. But there's not. Maybe I need to call. Ugh, I don't want to call. Not fully configured. I wonder what else I would need to give them. I don't understand PayPal. Calling will solve it? No! Okay, I'll have to call. I'll do it next week. Will they be there next week? Probably not. Dang. I don't know.
We don't know.
Right.
But the more that you learn about it, the more compelling it is that it's Jesus. But I don't want to overstate the case because, as you can tell, both you and I are fascinated by this thing.
Very fascinated.
And there's so much
That's
evidence.
right.
And it's so exciting to learn this credible evidence that you get tempted to overstate the case.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do. And I don't want to be one of them.
Okay.
So because I think the most powerful case for the shroud and the sudarium is the most modest case, because the most modest case is still so compelling that you don't have to overstate it. If you undersell it and you still get that degree of compelling evidence, then that's where I want to go with this.
I mean,
So
the odds of AB blood type being on both cloths alone brings it down to such a narrow margin, right?
Oh yeah, I don't even know what the odds are, but I think it's 10% or less of people in the world have type AB. So rarest is not like ultra rare, but when you start to think, well, these two claws, what are the odds of that? The first thing that the skeptics of the shroud will often try to come up with some method of being able to recreate it, and there are accounts in the Middle Ages and during the Reformation where there are even claims that this was painted. The image of the body was painted. So in 1978, the STRP team investigation, they had over 24 different tests that they did. Like I said, it was the most rigorous scientific investigation ever done on the shroud. And it's where we have most of our information still to this day. But the main question that everybody hoped would be answered is, how was the image made? And the answer they came up with was, we have no idea. They don't know. But they do know conclusively what didn't make it. And it's not paint, stain, dye, any sort of chemicals, no scorching. You cannot recreate this image.
Wow, congratulations on your niece.
Using any sort of known artistic or biological means. Can't be done. The image can't be made that way. But the reason why I bring this up is because we were talking about the blood. So one of the things that people have said is that, well, there's trace elements of medieval paint on the blood, on the shroud. And so we know that, there's paint on the shroud. And so skeptics to this day say that. And that is absolutely true. There are trace elements of iron oxide, which was an ingredient in medieval paint, on the blood of the shroud. But what the skeptics don't tell you is that there are also trace elements of paint where the image of the body is, but there's no blood. And there's trace elements of paint where there's no blood and no body. It's kind of uniformly found, but there's so little of it, you might be able to recreate one blood drop using, the amount of trace elements of paint that they have found. And so there are a couple of ways of thinking through this claim of the paint on there. The main one is that when the shroud became well known in Europe, the owners allowed replicas to be made of the shroud that were painted, that were then laid directly face to face onto the shroud as a way of blessing or sanctifying them. And it's probably contamination from that. Because the way the image exists on the shroud is nothing was deposited into the cloth in order to make the shroud. Okay, so if you were going to paint or stain it or use any sort of pigment or any sort of dye or chemical or oils or whatever, you're adding to the cloth. And that means if you took the shroud and you backlit it, you would be able to still see the outline of the body because it's deposits on the cloth that are creating the image. But if you do that, the only thing that shows up are the blood stains. You don't ever see the body, because what the STRP team discovered is that not only is none of that stuff present, that what is creating the image on the physical properties of the image on the shroud is that it's a degradation of the linen. And that it only is a degradation in the outermost fibrils of the linen thread. So the linen thread it's not just one thing. You know, a thread is 200 or 300 microfibrils of material kind of spun together. And what they discovered is that the image is only present on the outermost fibrils of the thread, and they don't penetrate at all. Paint, stain, pigment, dye, oils, they will all penetrate and be absorbed into the material, into the thread. Doesn't happen on the shroud. And so if you look at the screen, what I've got is, in order to understand just how superficial the image is, a human hair is about 60 microns in diameter. A linen fibril on the shroud is 10 to 15 fibrils, so a quarter of that size. And the image penetrates 0.2 microns. Okay, so that's actually, I've got that size on the screen. It looks like
so
a pixel's
crazy.
out. Okay, you probably can't even see it on camera. It's that small. That's how far it penetrates. And what's fascinating about it is that on the shroud, the image that we're looking at of the body, if you look at the backside of the image and you went around to the backside of the actual shroud, the body isn't there. Okay, it's
That's crazy. Do you realize, like, that in and of itself is like a statistical anomaly? Like knowing this, knowing that it couldn't be painted, and it only goes in so far. Like, whether or not this is Jesus doesn't matter. The fact that this is, like, even happened. Like, everything, like, I don't know. I agree with this guy. Like, it doesn't matter if this is Jesus or not. It doesn't change my faith. It doesn't change my theology. It doesn't matter. Like, but the fact that, yeah, 11 loaves, yes, we yeah, it doesn't exist until today. And even still, we still can't emulate this to this degree. Like, this is crazy. Like, literally impossible for us to do. It was impossible for them to do, for sure. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, I just think that this is the neatest thing in the whole wide world because we don't have anything else like this. Do you know how crazy that is?
Only on this side of the material. As far as the front side of the body goes, if you look at the back side of the shroud, the face area does come through a little bit, and also one of the hands does. So there is a double image on it, on the front side, but not on the back side. But there's no change to the cloth in the middle of the cloth.
Wow.
It doesn't penetrate. It's on the superficial parts of both sides of the face and the hands, but not in the middle. So it doesn't absorb all the way through. Okay, you can't recreate it. That's the thing. So, and think about this. Let's say you did paint if you were going to fake the shroud, what you would do, at least intuitively, you would paint the body and then you would paint the blood in place on the body so it's in an accurate position. But the body doesn't appear beneath the bloodstains. There is no change under the bloodstains because the bloodstains get deposited onto the cloth first. So whatever makes the image of the body happens after the blood is on there. And that means if you were going to fake it, you have to start by painting the blood streaks and then painting the body around it, which again doesn't make any sense.
None.
So the other thing about the body they discovered is that it has three-dimensional properties to it. There's information, three-dimensional information in the image of the body. And in the way that there's only one color that makes up the image of the body, and the reason why it looks darker in some places is because it gets more concentrated in that area, the damage to the linen. And the darker the image is, it's also more defined. It shows the body in a more defined way, and that indicates how close the cloth was to the body. So the darker the image is, the closer it was to the body. And that is true up to about 4 centimeters. You know, the body isn't wrapped around it like a wetsuit or anything. It's going to drape away from the different contours of the body. So there's parts of it, parts of the body that show on the shroud where it's not touching the shroud. It's within like 4 centimeters, and it gets fainter as it gets further away. And this is something that's not true of photographs, and it's not true of paintings. They don't work like that. So you could take the density variance that you see in the body of the shroud and put it into an image modeler, and it will create a 3-dimensional image based on that data. And it's linear data. So it's not from contact with the body. The whatever imprints the image onto the shroud is coming straight off one direction. It's not explaining it well. Imagine if you were going to try to recreate this. You could take a body and you could put paint or pigment on it and then put cloth on it. And as the cloth fits around the body, it's going to imprint the image of the body onto the cloth. And it's going to look exactly like the body, only as long as the cloth retains the contours of the body. But as soon as it flattens out, it's distorted. And the image on the cloth is not distorted. So the image on the shroud was not made by contact with the body.
Wow. That provides a whole new mystery.
Yeah.
That provides a whole new mystery.
Right.
And I don't know if we want to get there right now, or if we should hold off, because that's something that takes my brain down a rabbit.
Okay. And you're like, what? I miss context. Why is there a mystery? The question then is, how did the image get onto the cloth if it wasn't touching it and stuff like that? I think they'll get into it. Yes, way later.
Oh yeah.
Everything you're saying, you're laying out evidences as to why this is what tradition says it is. And you brought up the skeptics, and you brought up the idea of the paint. Is that their strongest argument against the shroud, would you say? Or are there
Well,
more?
that would be the no, it's not. That's one of them.
Okay.
But that's been, you can show that there's evidence, there's a more plausible explanation than what they're saying because of all the features of the image. Probably the strongest one they lean on is the radiocarbon dating.
Okay.
And we
Really?
can talk
That's the
about
one
that.
they lean on?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Not necessarily Grace. We'll get to that in a minute. Oh, don't even get me into carbon dating. I don't know why we carbon date. It's not good. It's not even reliable. For most things, it's wrong. I don't know why we decided that we would do that and why we accepted that as a thing. So they need a glass mannequin with an X-ray that emits from all sides inside of it just to make something like this? Basically. Do you guys want me to spoil the mystery? As to how we understand that this was made? Carbon dating does not work. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I was taught creation versus evolution apologetics back in the 2000s, and we knew carbon dating was bad back then. Yeah. Yeah. I grew up learning evolution and stuff, and we still like heavily debated carbon dating in school. Okay, so this image was created from the light that emanated from Christ, probably when he resurrected. That's how this image is on this cloth. We'll get to that. But that's the mystery. Isn't that so cool? That's the only way that this was able to be here. So cool.
Because that was the big monkey wrench in Shroud Studies is when that comes out. So we can go any number of directions at this point. So if you want to talk a little bit more about the Sudarium and the correspondence,
I feel like we should, because I think I could easily move past that by accident. So,
okay.
Because I know there's parts of the Sudarium that you have an overlay that I want to.
Yeah, radiation is the closest thing that we have to understanding. So, like in a lot of biblical literature, like Christ is described as being the light of the world. That is not only like metaphorical; it's also legitimately literal. Christ is literally light. And the shroud really proves that. So, light is technically radiation. That is true. And we know that, like, radiation and stuff is, like, a part of, like, Christ. Like, the way that light and stuff is emanating. Because of the way that, like, a lot of, there's ideas that the burning bush was burning with plasma and not just like fire. In like the Prince of Egypt, it's really depicted well with the kind of fire that it is, that it's plasma, not just fire. So like the fact that radiation from the light burning the image basically onto the shroud doesn't surprise me. Yes. So he's who Imagine Dragons we're talking about. Yes. He's radioactive. The disciples were picking up their rats for 3 years.
Get to, because I think when you showed it to me, I thought it was really fascinating. And if we could maybe go into more of the details of the Sudarium before we move off of that.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's see. I will. Let's move to the screen.
Okay.
And I'll have my. I'll kind of show you what we're looking.
Schulze said, when Holy Spirit gets involved, physics can go wild. Literally nothing has to make sense from our understanding when Holy Spirit gets involved. An ad. Well, I guess I'll just say her. I don't want anybody to miss this. 30 seconds, huh? I'll just tell you about my Wizard 101 shenanigans. I'm almost level 40. I'm almost done with the third world. I'm almost done with Big Ben. The more I explain, the worse it sounds. I'm almost in Mushu. That's exciting. Everybody let me know when you're back. Hello. Back from Ed. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back.
At here. So this is.
Explain that in terms of people who have no idea what you mean progress-wise. I have done over 40 hours of gameplay in 3 days. No, actually more like a week. Yes. Light was created first. Yes. That was intentional. Then we learned later that the slate is essentially building blocks for everything else we know. Yes. You were gifted a sub. Wow. What? What, Jack? What? Are you saying I have a problem? I have a problem with Wizard 101? Only a little bit. I'll not apologize. I love Wizard 101. It's all I do. It's all I can play. It consumes me. Have I slept? Yeah. I just get up at like 5. And I go to sleep at like 8. Yeah. I am the weak. I love sleep. I mean, I can't talk. I spent 200 hours in Arma 3 in 1 month. I have a problem. See, I have I struggle with ADHD, and so when I get I don't know, I don't dream. And when I do dream, it's nightmares more often than not. So, I don't know. Yeah, so I hyperfixate, and then I can't do anything except for play the game. So I will play Wizard 101 for like 16 hours in a day, if I can. Like when I'm not streaming, that's all I do. And I can't not do anything else. I can't do anything else. Aside from like small breaks. Because otherwise I can't focus. I did the dishwasher though. And I made food. So I'm slightly capable of living life outside of it. Even the mellow dreams are nightmares. Yeah, I don't understand why it's a thing. I don't understand why nightmares are such a big thing for me. I don't know. There was Soul Calibur and Guitar Hero. Oh yeah, Guitar Hero, yes. I used to have the guitar for my Guitar Hero up until like 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
The sudarium, like I said, it's about the size of a bed sheet. There's no image on it, but you can see there's kind of 3 general areas. We've got this area right here, we've got this area, and then this area, which strangely looks like the middle area reflected. And the way to understand these stains is that this right here is what was in direct contact with a face. And
Well-
this, you can see that this right here, well, I'll show you more details in a minute, but this right here is that you can see the nostrils of a nose. If you look closely and you know what you're looking for, you see the nostrils of a nose. And then this would be like the upper lip, the lower lip, and you can see this kind of hook shape in the stain. That's where the blood
Oh,
is.
it's a side view. Oh, I was like, huh? I can see it now. I can see it now. I'm Ozzy, but what are you doing?
Dripping into the beard and around the chin, and you got another kind of a hook claw shape going this direction. This vertical area is following the bridge of the nose, and then blood pools on the forehead. I'll explain that in a minute. And then you can see there are other like isolated stains, like this one. This is a hole in it that is the shape of a stain, which is intriguing. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you've got a bunch of wounds in the
Hello, I am doing well. Thank you.
on this side, and then this big butterfly shape right here. So because of these odd shapes and these isolated shapes and these defined features from the face, there is
Bye, Jack.
you've
Bye.
got enough data to see if it can match the face on the shroud. Now, the researchers into the sudarium have been able to recreate this whole stain by placing the body into 3 different positions. So this is about how the shroud gets the sudarium gets registered onto the face, and you can see how it all the blood seems
Gosh,
to
that's
cluster around the
crazy.
nose, because this is where the blood starts coming out of the nose and the mouth right here. Let me pause and explain why there's a sudarium in the first place.
Yes.
Because I mean, the idea of a picture of Jesus with
Okay.
this cloth wrapped around his head is really freaky to
Yeah.
picture. You know, it's like a kidnap victim or something like that.
Oh,
The idea is that
I hadn't thought about it
in
that way.
Leviticus 17:11, it says that the life is in the blood. So the Jews have historically believed that the soul is in the blood. The soul is in the lifeblood. And so in the first century Orthodox Jews, when their burial customs said that when a Jew died violently, meaning that they bled, they have to bury the blood with the body, because that's what has the soul. You got to keep the soul with the body. So if there was blood on the clothes, they would bury the clothes with the body. If there was blood on the dirt, they'd collect the dirt as much as they could, and they'd bury it with the body. So with
Wow.
a Jewish man on the cross, if this really was Jesus, the reason why he's got a cloth around his face is because he's now spewing blood toward the end of the crucifixion process. And as he's dying, they know all that blood is collected in the lungs. And as soon as they start moving him off the cross, it's going to come gushing out the nose and the mouth. And so they have to collect it.
That makes me
And that's the idea
sad.
behind the sudarium, that this is what its function was. So
this is something that was put on Jesus literally during his crucifixion.
well, it would be when he appeared to be dead.
Okay, so but it wasn't something that like they bury him, they put him in the tomb, and then they wrap his head in it. It
No.
was something that happened while he was on the cross.
He was still on the cross, appeared to be dead.
Wow. Okay.
Now, you know, the blood on the backside right here is lifeblood. So he's, you know, either that's seeping out before the serum separates from the red blood cells. And so it's, you know, it doesn't appear to be, it's not postmortem blood, but I mean, he's dead at this point. That's when they put it on. Excuse me. So the body is on the cross when it gets put on, but apparently his head was rocked forward and to the side like this, and so they can't wrap it all the way around. So it gets doubled back, which is why you have a mirror image of the stain. That's what makes this. This is not contact. This is in contact. This is folded onto the area that was in
Oh, they're
contact.
showing it above my head.
And so the
How his
body's
head
in
would have
this
been.
position for 45 minutes to an hour, and then the body was laid face down. For
That's so sad.
with the feet slightly elevated, and that with resting on the forehead, and the head to be slightly cocked, so the blood runs down the bridge of the nose and pools on the forehead, and then and it's in that position for 45 minutes to an hour. So those total, that gives a plausible window of time for Joseph of Arimathea to go get permission to get the body to bury Jesus. Then the body's in one more position, which is face up, for about 5 minutes, and the distance between Golgotha and the tomb of the Holy Sepulchre is less than 50 yards, so 5 minutes isn't anything to
Yeah.
move the body. And there's evidence of a hand reaching over the back of the head to pinch the cloth over the nose that you see on the sudarium. And so
Hang
the
on.
question
I'm
is,
gonna make you guys cry. Who do you think pinched his nose to get the blood to stop? Also, who do you think wrapped his body? Was it the women? That makes me so sad. Be right back. I'm gonna cry. I'm so sad. Do you think it was Mary? Do you think she held Jesus? and she covered his face. It was Joseph. I don't know. I don't remember how Jewish burial traditions are held. I can't remember what they do. Yeah, his mom. No, we're gonna go for another hour and a half at least. Yeah.
How close
I have to laugh. If I can't laugh, I'm gonna cry.
of a match is it to the shroud? So
Could have been
I've done some work on
Nicodemus.
this. If you look at the
Nicodemus.
main stain of the sudarium, I've made these outlines of the general area. So you got the main outline here, and then the more condensed outline here. The nose is outlined right here with the upper lip, lower lip. You can also see there's an isolated stain right on the eyebrow. There's a hole right here that looks like it's stain shaped and may have been, I mean, might have been cut out to give as like a relic to someone important.
Wow.
And then you've got, but we don't know that.
Sure, but I mean,
so,
it's a logical theory.
yeah, and then you've got a stain right here on the forehead.
Jesus.
And if you map
His
that
face.
onto
Hang on.
the shroud, you can see that once you register the nose, this stain
Look,
from the
there's his
sudarium
face.
matches a stain right below this epsilon blood streak right here pretty closely. And this hole in the sudarium matches almost exactly this stain right here. This cluster of stains on the shroud matches the big stain. And then the edge of the forehead stain runs right along the epsilon-shaped streak of blood on the shroud. And you can see this follows the beard, and it matches pretty exactly. It's a little messy to look at like that, so I created another version where you can see kind of the mask, how it fits like that.
Mhm.
And I have a way for you to do it yourself if you want to do it.
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to.
So what we have here, I've got an overlay that you can see that.
They didn't catch it, but Doug explains that the overlay matches the I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation. Sudarium? Oh, I think I got it perfectly.
Here's the nose to the shroud. So
Whoa.
if we register the nose to the nose and this dot, that blood stain to that, or to this blood stain right below the 3. Okay, here's the nose on the shroud. And we register that dot. Look at what happens.
Wow.
Everything fits exactly. Okay, it doesn't have to be resized or anything. It fits about as exact as you can expect. Okay, it's never going to be 100% because remember, this is the shroud would have been on a body that is laying there. It's not moving.
Chelsea.
Whereas the sudarium was wrapped around a head that's
Thank
in
you,
3 different
Grace.
positions and is getting moved
Right.
and was actually rewrapped because it's only doubled back in that first position. So after they get him onto the ground, they wrap it all the way around. They do a little bit of a rewrap. So it's never going to be 100% match, but it's a pretty compelling match.
Oh,
as
it's
you can see.
incredibly compelling. For me, it seals the deal. So I think it's a wild match, and it's something that just really puts into perspective as to the complexities of the two being paired together. And you can say, oh, are you reaching? You're trying to, just pull this out of thin air. This is absolutely a complex analyzation of these two pieces of material that seem to match incredibly close.
It's pretty compelling, but that's not all because there's the backside. That's just the face.
Oh, that's right.
So if you go to the backside, so this is what it looks like if you map it out to a sculpture that is a very accurate recreation of the body on the shroud, a 3-dimensional recreation. But on the backside,
Hang on, before we continue, guys, can you just believe that we have this much proof of Jesus's form? If this is Jesus, like there's a either 1 in 83 million or a 1 in 200 billion chance that this is Jesus. Like, this proves he was real. Like, he was a person. This is what he looked like when he died. It's so compelling that people will be without excuse if they can't believe. Yeah, I like, not that it makes or break my faith, because it doesn't, but like, this is profound. Because a lot of people are like, well, Jesus wasn't real, but like, if under like almost no deniability, right, that this is pretty close, right? We have to say at least like a 90+% chance that this is Jesus depicted on this image, on this cloth. Like, you can't deny that he was a person. We have this proof. That's wild. 99% likely. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. but it's really close. Creation is the compelling proof Roman speaks about, but this is really close. Yes. Yeah, creation speaks for itself, but if someone needed like a physical piece of proof that outside of the world and creation, yeah. Schulte, yes, you're right. But that doesn't stop people from believing it.
If you outline the little wounds that you see and also the big butterfly shape, and you compare it to the backside of the head, it's another pretty compelling match because you have the same sort of stains over here, but then this shape right here, I don't know how well you can see it, but this funnel shape is the long hair.
Yeah,
so if the man in the shroud had, if he wore his hair stylistically as a ponytail, then it would have been the anchor that they could pin the Sudarium in, and that's where they start the rap. If he didn't wear a ponytail, then they would have gathered his hair together and they run the pins in. Either way, but once you get this blood, this blood clot in this ponytail, that will hold the hair together even after the Sudarium's removed, which is why you would still have this kind of funnel shape of hair on the back of the shroud. If you do the overlay, it looks like that. You can see how the blood stain fits right into the funnel shape of the hair, and how those wounds in the back of the head are so similar.
Yeah, that's wild. That's absolutely wild. And so you were showing me earlier, I believe it was on a map, the route that these two relics took over the years, and I think you were mentioning how there was other tests that were done to this. I believe it was with pollen.
Yeah.
That kind of points to a very specific area.
Yes. Okay. So if you would, there's two ways to go about this, because the pollen is a scientific corroboration of the documentary evidence, the historical evidence in both cases, and vice versa. The historical evidence ends up matching what you find in the pollen.
This is so cool. I wish Hood was here so he could hear this. Hood is I'm gonna have to send this video to him. But just because I feel like this is like his kind of cup of tea. But when he goes over this stuff with the pollen, one, I'm so allergic to pollen, so that must be awful to be around. But the fact that you can test with pollen, I didn't know that you could do that. I don't know why you couldn't do that. Because how else are you gonna like geographically locate something if only certain trees or plants grow in an area? That would be like exceedingly perfect to test the location of a thing to be at. I don't know why I didn't think you could do that. But that's very cool that you can.
It's a really cool double line of evidence here. So the idea is, which one do you want to do first? I'll do the shroud first. Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, with all this scientific evidence, the question is, well, if it, everything seems to point to its authenticity. If it really did exist prior to showing up in Europe in 1355, where was it? I mean, the guy never said where he got it from or anything like that. So where was it? Is there any evidence for it in history? And it turns out that there is. And so if we document it, the oldest evidence for it comes from the church historian Eusebius, who was the bishop of Caesarea. He was at the first council, first ecumenical council. He was Constantine's biographer. About 324, he writes the most important early history of the church. And he includes things like, where we get the books of the New Testament and some of the books that get left out and why, and what happened to the apostles. And he includes a lot of different stories and traditions that he is copying from earlier documents that he quotes extensively and preserves them once they're lost to history, which is one of the reasons why he's important. And one of the stories he tells is about the king of Edessa named Abgar. Now, when I tell you the story of the early days of the Shroud up until it hits Constantinople, there is a general thread for the story, but there are different traditions and sometimes contradictions to it. But and I'll point out what they are. But I'm going to tell you the general story, and then I'm going to show you where it kind of splits apart. Okay. But you'll see that there is one consistent narrative that's pretty fascinating. So Eusebius tells this story about the king of Edessa, Abgar, and that he lived at the time of Jesus, and that he suffered from some kind of disease, and we think it was probably leprosy and or really bad arthritis. So he sends a messenger to get Jesus to come back to Edessa and heal him. And Edessa is a city in Turkey right along the Syrian border. These days it's called Urfa, or Sanli Urfa. So the messenger shows up and Jesus says he can't go. But according to Eusebius, Jesus writes a letter to give to the messenger, to give to Abgar, that says he can't come, but he will send somebody. And then shortly afterwards, Jesus is crucified. And after his resurrection, the apostle Thomas gives the burial shroud to the disciple Thaddeus. So in Luke 10, I believe, there's the 70 disciples who get sent out by Jesus. And one of them traditionally is Thaddeus. And in Syrian, his name is Adai. So Thaddeus / Adai takes the burial shroud, goes to Edessa. He appears before Abgar and he puts it on top of Abgar. He like drapes it on him and Abgar is healed and becomes a Christian. And so Abgar takes it and he mounts it or he wraps it up or folds.
Who was asking about Luke writing it? Someone needs to go find this guy's writing, apparently.
And puts it kind of in a box, maybe with a window cut out so you could see the face. Unsure about that. But he puts it in a niche above the city gate, which is where there was a pagan idol, and you were supposed to pay tribute to the pagan idol when you went into the city. And so he had that taken down, and he had the image put there. And
you want me to link the
died,
video? Yeah, let me link the video right now so you guys can watch at your leisure and also do your own research to the stuff that he's quoting. Hang on. There you go. There you go.
And he left it there. And then when he died, either his son or Abgar's grandson came to power and reverted to paganism. And so the bishop at the end of the 1st century thought that the image might get destroyed. And so he hid it by bricking it up in the niche. And people remembered that there was this cloth with the face on it, but they didn't know where it was. And that's where it stayed for 400 years. And in the year 544, the Persians came and they laid siege to the city of Edessa. And during the siege, the bishop of Edessa received a vision, and the vision told him to go get the image out of the wall and told him where to go get it. And so he opens up the wall in that spot and there's the image. And then he parades it around the city to bring protection to the city. And he got to a certain spot in it and a bunch of copper pots were hanging there and they started rattling. And this is how the people of Edessa discovered that the Persians were digging a tunnel underneath the city so they could come up in the middle of the city. So the people of Edessa dug a hole down to the tunnel and they poured in a bunch of oil and set it on fire and burned the Persians. And this is how they break the siege. And so the image of Edessa becomes very, very famous. And okay, so let me pause.
Okay.
That whole story is not in Eusebius. Eusebius doesn't mention an image or anything like that. He mentions the letter. He mentions Abgar. There is another history where there's a book called The Doctrine of a Die from the late 4th century that says that the messenger from Abgar was a painter and he paints Jesus's image, and that's what gets taken back. There's another tradition that says Jesus, while he was talking to the messenger, takes a cloth and he wipes his face and it imprints his image on it, and that's what the messenger takes back. So there are a couple different threads there about what's happening. In the year 590, I believe, you have the history of this siege with the Persians, and that's where it talks about an image that's called an archapoieta, or an image not made by human hands. And so you can, there's always some image, almost not in Eusebius, but otherwise all the traditions always mention an image, and it always goes to Abgar, and it's always in Edessa. There's no competing tradition for it. There's some evidence. I
wonder why he would have left it out.
Some scholars believe it may have gone through Antioch on the way to Edessa, but it's always Edessa, it's always Abgar, and there's almost always an image. There is another tradition that says that there was a flood that damaged the city walls to Edessa in about the year 525, and that's how the image gets rediscovered, but it's still paraded around the city in 544, and that's still how they break the siege. So you can...
Well, Blackjack, we know that they won't believe until Holy Spirit comes on them, because you can't believe otherwise.
You can see
not until the veil is lifted.
The common thread that gets you this far, even though there's variations and sometimes contradictions in the details of it. So now we're in 544. Image of Edessa is very, very famous. So it's known as the image of Edessa or the Mandylion. Sometimes we think of the Mandylion as only a cloth with the face on it. And the reason is probably because of how it was presented, which is in a box with only the face showing. So nobody knew there was a whole body there. But it stayed in Edessa for another 400 years. And then the Emperor Romanus in 943 brings it to Constantinople, because that's the seat of the empire. That's the seat of Christianity. That's where all the relics are being taken. And it's just like relic central in Constantinople. So it gets taken there and it arrives in 944. And it stays there for 250 years. And
Josie, have fun. Have a great time. Please do look at this at your leisure. It's a great, this guy is wonderful. He's a very good orator. He speaks for his stuff very well.
The year 1203, there was a crusader during the Fourth Crusade who goes around to the different palaces and churches and kind of makes a diary, a travelogue of all the different relics he's seen. And he goes to this certain church called My Lady St. Mary of Macharney, and he says that there he sees the burial shroud of Jesus that was raised up, made to stand up every Friday. And which is kind of an interesting way of describing it. It doesn't sound like it's just a sheet with a face on it. It sounds like the whole body. And one of the things that the Stirp team discovered is that linen retains a memory of its fold really well, however it's been folded. And they discovered that one of the ways it has been folded in its history is around a mechanism that allows it to be raised and lowered out of a chest. And this may be what this guy saw. And then a few months later, in April 1204, is the sack of Constantinople, where the Western church sacks and attacks the Eastern church in Constantinople instead of going around to Jerusalem, which is what they were supposed to do in the Fourth Crusades. Instead, they just stop and they loot and destroy a bunch of Orthodox riches and take them back to Europe. And this is where the letter of Jesus had been taken, and it's said to have been destroyed at this time. To be very clear, I don't believe the letter of Jesus ever existed. I think this is an apocryphal part of the story, because I think if Jesus, there's only one thing we know that Jesus actually wrote, and that's when he writes in the dirt during the, the story of the woman caught in adultery. And even that probably isn't original to scripture, even though it's probably an authentic happening of Jesus. So if Jesus ever wrote anything, we would absolutely have a copy of it. And if he only ever wrote one thing in his entire life, it probably wasn't a note that says, sorry, I can't come right now. So I don't think this is.
Yeah, I mean, if we consider just the supernatural preservation of Scripture, like you would think Jesus and what he wrote would be something that God would ordain to be preserved.
Yeah,
you know,
right. So for you and I, we see we factor in God's providence and how he preserves and transmits Scripture. For skeptics, they need other sources of evidence. Right? So at this point, during the sack of Constantinople, it disappears for like 150 years, and then it shows up in 1355 in Léry, France. When it shows up in Léry, France, it's displayed by a knight named Geoffrey de Charny, and he doesn't ever explain where it came from or anything like that. But
that's the last name.
It doesn't mean there's no evidence. There's very little evidence, but the evidence that we have does seem to tell a very plausible story. And then there's a whole speculative line of where the shroud may have been, and it's super fascinating, but there's no evidence for it. And yet you can see how it still might play into the story as well. So what we know is that the year after the sack of Constantinople in 1205, the king of Thessaly, so the northern part of Greece, wrote a letter to Pope Innocent III and said that during the sack of Constantinople, all sorts of relics get looted, and they were taken back to France or Venice, and one of the things that went missing is the burial shroud of Jesus, and that has turned up in Athens. So 1205, we've got this letter to the Pope, says the burial shroud's in Athens. What makes this interesting is the king of Athens was from France, from Byzantine France, and his name is Othon de la Roche. And he was made the king of Athens because of his service at the Fourth Crusade, and his service in the Fourth Crusade he was at the sack of Constantinople, and it was his job to protect the palace of Blasharni, where the church of My Lady St. Mary Blasharni was, where the shroud was seen by Robert de Clary in 1203. So he's the guy in charge of defending the place where the shroud was kept, and now the shroud's in Athens. And what makes this important is his great-great-granddaughter was named Jeanne de Vergy, and she married Robert de Clary, who shows the shroud in 1355 in France. So that's about as good as you get that we have. The other thing is that in Byzantine France, if you go to the Othon de la Roche castle, there's a chest there that says this is what the shroud was kept in, what it was brought back to Europe in. So that's the most credible line, probably. There's another theory, though, that the shroud was in the custody of the most powerful group of people in the world at that time, which is the Knights Templar, and that they had custody of it. And what makes this interesting isn't that there's actually no evidence for this whatsoever. It's just kind of like if you thought, all right, well, who's powerful enough to have control of this thing? Right. Now, one other factor is the reason why the de la Roches may have kept their possession of it secret or not publicized it at least is because in the year 1215, Pope Innocent III made a proclamation that nobody could sell or display relics without the church's permission. So, if he comes clean and says, I've got the shroud, then it's just gonna be taken from him immediately. Right. So you see motive for him to keep it on the down low. Right. But if he didn't have it, then, you speculate that this powerful order of warrior monks, the Knights Templar, they would be a really good candidate to think, they would have it. And so that's also been a theory. Like I said, there's no evidence, but there are a couple of very interesting make you think things. Yeah. Number one of them is when one of the things that makes you think is in 1314 the Knights Templar were outlawed, and their leader Jacques de Molay was executed in Paris, and he was executed along with the preceptor of the Templars, whose name was Geoffrey de Charny. But it's 40 years before the shroud shows up in Europe, in Léry, France, and so it's not the same guy, and they're not spelled exactly the same. One's A-Y and one's Y, but there's no standardized spelling at the time, so you can't make a big argument out of that. And the Knights Templar took vows of chastity. So if he was true to it, it wouldn't be his son or grandson, but it may be, a cousin or a nephew or something like that. But when the Templars were outlawed, they confessed part of their secret ceremonies was the worship of the image of a bearded head. And nobody really knew what that meant. But in 1951, we learned what that meant, because in Templecombe, England, there was an old building that was used by the Templars, and a storm rolled through the area and rattled the building so hard that some of the ceiling fell in. So you can see the backside of the roof, and there was a panel on the backside of the roof that had this image on it right here, the image of a bearded head, which looks pretty close to the face of the Shroud of Turin.
Yes, it does.
So that's about as good as you get. Like I said, there's no evidence that supports the Templar theory at all. It falls more on the Othon de la Roche side, but So even with this, with the bearded head and all of that, the Templars could know about it, but not have custody of it. So it could be a little bit of a both and in the story as well. So, okay, so that's the history of where we get it. So 100 years later, the Descharnay family falls on hard times. So they sell it to the king of Savoy. Savoy is an autonomous area that's now part of southern France or northern Italy.
Wow.
And the king puts it in the cathedral at Chambéry, which is now Chambéry, France. And 1532, that's when there's a fire there. And so that's when you see all these triangles across the shroud. Those are patches because those are where holes were, because the shroud was folded up and put in a silver box when it wasn't on display. And the box in the fire got so hot that the corner of it was melting silver onto the corner of the shroud. And because of the way it was folded, it left these 16 holes. So the nuns there put these patches on it, and that's what you see. And they also put a backing cloth on it as well.
Wow.
So from there, about 50 years later, he moved his capital to the other side of the Alps, which is now Turin, Italy, and he put it in the cathedral there, and that's how it becomes known as the Shroud of Turin.
Wow.
So that's the history part. Now you asked about pollen.
I did.
Okay.
Just real.
Hang on before the end of that. I'm surprised that there's a relic that's plausibly real, given how many fraud relics there are. Yeah, I mean, if a rich enough family kept it, right? I mean, I'm sure, like, how many do we actually have that are real that we're just not allowed to have access to? You know what I mean? Makes me wonder. Yeah, I was curious, but that makes sense. Yeah. And also, like, the Knights Templar, like, knowing that it existed and, like, knowing what it looked like because of the Descharnay line, like, very cool. Makes a lot of sense. I was doing an art thing and I need help on something as random generator being no help. Oh no, I need a random clothing item. Like, are you drawing it? A scarf. Ooh, that's a good one. A scarf.
Quick though, I just want to make an observation that the way the scorch marks happened.
Ooh.
I mean, can you imagine if it was moved over just a little bit, a little higher? And,
I love a petticoat.
you know what I mean? We could not have the face right
Jeans.
now. I know. It's incredible.
Well, it's been in several fires, and in fact, you can see mineral deposits from the water damage from putting it out during these fires on several parts of it. Not just that 1532 fire, but from a couple others as well. So yeah, and you know what? I'll show you one other thing. But while we're talking about damage on the shroud, that is really fascinating. Is if you look at, you can see these 4 holes that make this L shape that gets mirrored across the shroud. This is from when the shroud was folded up in a different way. It was likely sitting on an altar, and there was an incense censer above it, and some live embers fell and burned all the way through. Just 4 of them happened to be in this L shape, and they burned all the way through, and that's where you get that. So you've got all sorts of damage that gives it these interesting characteristics.
Now you guys saying apple bottom jeans. I don't have the same opinion of saint relics as Catholics, and maybe Orthodox do, but I do think they're fascinating, and a decent amount of them are either authentic or replicas. Yes, a lot of them are replicas. I know Trump has a replica of the Ark, and we know it's not the real one because the cherubim have wings on the top. We all share the same brain cell. Yes, it makes me exceedingly happy that you do.
Those holes, the burn holes from the incense, I'll show you a super cool piece of evidence here in a minute. So as far as the pollen goes, in 1978, during the investigation at that time, one of the people who did a test. So what happened is the Shroud of Turin research project was given 120 hours to do about 24 tests or so.
That's it?
But really, the first 12 hours were given to the Italian team. And because they're the home court, right? So it was polite, and they ran some tests. But the Italian team invited a Swiss criminologist to do the very first test. His name is Max Fry, and he was at the cutting edge of all the forensic science.
Your name is Max Fry, and you're a forensic scientist? I'm afraid that was made to be. That's such a cool name.
ESI
Bottom
stuff.
jeans are a real
He pioneers this
contender.
whole field back in the
Amazing.
1940s, and he works all the way into the 80s. And one of the things he came up with was this fascinating idea that he could place suspects at crime scenes using pollen. And the way he would do it was he would just take regular tape, cellophane tape, and press it into the clothes of a suspect and try to pull off pollen that matched the pollen at a crime scene.
Okay.
So in 1973, there was just a preliminary test done on the Shroud where a slight piece of cloth was cut away for a couple of tests, and they let him come with his tape and tape some samples off the Shroud looking for pollen. So in 1978, the very first thing that happens is they invite Max Fry to come down and take some more samples off. And so this is him with his regular sticky tape. Word on the street, I don't know if it's true, is that he stopped at the drugstore on the way to the
I was
cathedral.
going to say, it looks so unscientific.
That's exactly what he's got. And look how happy he is to be there.
I'd be happy too.
Yeah, he's having a good time. But look at the tension he's putting on the cloth, right? The STRP team is standing there going, what in the world is going on? Because not only is that just regular old tape that's going to leave all this residue on it, but it's putting this tension on the cloth. It's damaging the cloth. So they actually wanted to prevent any of this. So they had the 3M Corporation create proprietary tape that wouldn't leave any residue and had their own special applicator that wouldn't put any tension on the cloth, or at least not enough to do damage. But when the STRP team examined all of their samples that they took with the tape, there was no pollen. And when Max Fry looked at his samples, and he had 38 different samples between the two times he did it, he was able to identify 58 different kinds of pollen. And so this is what pollen looks like when it's trapped in the weave. And this is what it looks like when you magnify it. So if you had known samples of pollen from different parts of the world, different plants, and you had a whole lot of patience where you could take a comparison microscope and look at what you're looking at in the tape with, the different samples, you'd be able to figure out what you were looking at. And that's what he did. And so he was able to identify 58 different kinds of pollen. And it turns out the pollen comes from the northern part of Italy, the southern part of France, Turkey, the area specifically around Constantinople, Palestine, and the area specifically around Jerusalem.
Oh, you can't see Jerusalem. Hang on, wait. I want you guys to see Jerusalem on the map. Hang on. You can see now.
Pollen from Jerusalem was in bloom, which only happens in the springtime. And the majority of the pollen can be found in the area around Jerusalem. So just full disclosure, that's not super specific. Some of it is extremely specific. Some of that pollen that is, found around Jerusalem is just found around the Mediterranean in general. So it doesn't lead you straight there. But when you factor in all the other things, it leads you straight there. It replicates the itinerary that you see in the historical documents.
Yeah, passport.
Fascinating.
Pollen passport.
Looks like something you would see on a missionary doing their Pauls or something, just the way it maps around stuff. So it really kind of just shows you the route that this took, or at least hypothetical.
Yeah.
But Jerusalem being a point of contact is a huge deal.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
And the time of year.
So then, when people start becoming aware of the Sudarium, one of the first things they do is scientists go, well, where'd this thing came from? So in 1978, they had 79, the year after the Shroud examination, Max Fry came down and he did tape samples on the Sudarium. And he pulls off 16, or I can't remember how many samples he takes, but he discovers and identifies 16 types of pollen on there. Turns out the pollen is from northern Spain, central Spain, the area around Toledo, northern Africa, probably the area around Alexandria, and Jerusalem. He traces it in a different way. And since then, 25 other species of pollen have been identified on the Sudarium. So the question is, where did the Sudarium come from? What kind of historical background do you have for the Sudarium?
Yeah.
And there's not nearly as much, partly because nobody knows what to call this thing, right? It's there's all sorts of names for it, face cloth, napkin. And there's just not as much documentary evidence. In the early 11th century, there was a bishop in Oviedo named Pelayo who decided he was going to get to the bottom of it. So he does the digging through the historical documents. And so we know exactly, we have all of these documents, not just his word for it, but he's the researcher who kind of puts the puzzle together. And so the oldest piece of the puzzle we have is from the 6th century, from a travelogue from a pilgrim named Antonius Martyr. He visits the Holy Land, I believe, in 570, and he goes out to the area where John the Baptist had his ministry, and he said that there's a cave there that has 7 nuns, and they are guarding one of the things that it was in their possession that they guarded was the napkin that was around the head of Jesus.
Okay, 2 things. 1, Alexander Martyr. Did he die? 2nd, imagine deciding that you're going to be a nun and you're going to live in a cave. I can't. No, wait, why? The first thing, like, he had to have died, right? That's why his name was that. He didn't just choose that name, right? The amount of effort it would take to fake this, even if they had the technology. Yeah, because they have such historical documentation of these things. that for an elaborate lie to go over like 500 years? That's crazy.
And so Paleo does his research, and what he says Antonio's martyr saw was, according to tradition, the disciples of the apostles
It
built a
does.
wooden chest.
It does
and they
sound
put
like a
relics in
Dragon
it,
Quest
and
enemy.
that chest was what was there.
Nuns
And then
are
in the year
special. They are.
614, the Persians show
Yeah.
up again, and they lay siege to Jerusalem. And on the way, the Christians move the chest out of the area. So they take it to Alexandria, Egypt. And in 616, or they take it to North Africa, probably Alexandria. In the year 616, the Persians move into northern Africa. So the Christians put the chest on a boat and they send it to Cartagena, Spain, where it was taken by the bishop immediately to Seville. The bishop of Seville takes it there. He has possession of it until he dies 20 years later, and then it was taken to Toledo. Stays in Toledo till the year 711, and this is when the Muslims invade the Iberian Peninsula, and they start to conquer Spain. And so in 711, it gets moved up to the mountains of Asturias, and that becomes the one place that the Muslims never conquer in Spain, one of the only places. And the king of Asturias attributes his success in 761 to defeating the Muslims to the protection offered by the relics in the chest, which includes the sudarium. So he founds the town of Oviedo, and then he builds the cathedral there, which is that's the cathedral. It's not what he built. It looks like that, and it's called the Camera Santa, the Chamber of Sacred Relics. And within there are a bunch of relics, and that's the chest.
That's the actual chest.
That's the actual chest. When it was opened by Paleo and the king in the early 11th century, they inventoried all the relics. They're all still in there except for the sudarium, which was removed and put in its own reliquary. And then the king had it adorned with all this kind of silver decoration. And what you see behind it is a replica of the sudarium that covers the window of the reliquary holding the actual sudarium. And so when you take away the replica, that's the sudarium in place. It gets exhibited 3 times a year.
But who gets to see it?
Anybody who shows up.
Really?
But it's always the same 3 days. So I believe it's Good Friday, and then there's 2 feast days in September when it is exhibited.
Put that on my
Dang,
calendar.
we're going to Spain in September.
I was there last year.
Let's
Nobody seemed to
go.
know the thing was there. I mean, I was stood in the sacred chamber, my wife and I, for at least half an hour before somebody else showed up. We had it totally to ourselves.
That's incredible.
It was amazing. Nobody seemed to be, it's a beautiful cathedral, and there's all sorts of things to see. But that's, like, to me, the main draw. And it's popular, but I thought I was going to have to fight the crowds. There's no crowds. There's nothing.
Good to know. We're interested in things that nobody cares about, so we can skip the lines.
You just skip the line. So
that's so cool.
So there you go. So you have that's the best historical evidence we have for it, and the pollen seems to follow the same itinerary. And in both cases, the pollen and the historical evidence leads back to Jerusalem.
You have a map of both routes put together?
I don't.
Okay, because visually in my head, I'm seeing both, and it's I find it interesting because really the only commonality is Jerusalem, right?
That's correct.
So they both went opposite directions. And what the route that you're showing here, this route is also backed up by the pollen that was on it, right?
Yes.
So this isn't just like this. I went through the historical records. This is what I think. It's also backed up with the pollen that we've tested and has been found on it.
Yep. And by the time it leaves Jerusalem or the area around the Jordan, if this is all true, by that time the shroud had been recovered in Edessa.
Right.
Wow, that's incredible. So let's get into what I think is really fascinating, and I think I have it here, the radiation hypothesis, because that in my mind, and I understand everybody has their own thresholds of belief and things like that, but for me, it's like it takes the shroud, the story that we read in the Gospels of Christ being crucified, being a man, being crucified, dying on the cross, being buried, and this idea of resurrection, and I feel like it takes that last part of resurrection, and it's like, this might point to that. And I really feel like it's the other piece of a puzzle that could really put people that are more scientifically minded to be like, that's a really interesting thought process to go down.
Yeah. So regarding the hypothesis you're talking about, the way this comes about is the STURP team in 1978 was headed up by a physicist from the Air Force Academy named John Jackson. And just...
What is with these guys in the military having 2 first names? If you have 2 first names for your first and last name, I'm so sorry. What's up, Frey? How you doing?
So the STURP team gets mischaracterized by skeptics as a group of scientists made up of evangelical Christians who believed this was real and went over looking for evidence to back up what they already believed. As if, there's some sort of confirmation bias project. And that's not the case at all. Okay, there were 33 scientists. The majority identified as Christians. Some were.
Ooh, Loven, that's a great. Loven? I just combined your name. Levin, Loves. Okay, the resurrections in scripture didn't have a flash of light, but Christ's body became glorified and he was moving in ways we don't understand afterwards. Yes. He was not tied to just the mortal plane anymore. Your name is Loven now, I'm sorry.
were Catholic, some were Protestant, some were liberal Protestant, some were evangelical. They didn't all believe that the Shroud was authentic. And then there were guys on the team who were atheists, and there were Jews. So there was no uniformity as to whether this thing was authentic or not. What unites the team, what they had in common, is that they all were experts in their field. They all had PhDs or the equivalent terminal degree in their area of expertise as
I almost
scientists,
said it.
and they all work at highly credible institutions like Jet Propulsion Laboratories and Caltech and
Ooh,
Los
Caltech,
Alamos
huh?
National Lab, Sandia National Labs, the Air Force Academy, Air Force Weapons Lab. These were serious scientists who worked at highly reputable institutions, and they were just interested in what you could know. So this goes to the point that this is more than a relic now. This is an object of scientific inquiry, regardless of what your religious beliefs are. And so they had two dozen tests or so, and they got permission to go do it. And so at the end of it, they end up with results that were, it took like 3 or 4 years to publish them in over 20 different peer-reviewed scientific journals. This wasn't a pop culture type of thing. They didn't go to Christianity Today or, USA Today or any kind of, news magazines or anything like that. And I'm not putting those things down, but that's not how you report your scientific data. They reported it as within the bounds of academia, that this was their world. They were scientists reporting scientific findings so that other scientists, their peers, could review it.
Oh, I love peer-reviewed
All of their
papers.
tests affirmed, didn't prove, it was all consistent with the authenticity of the Shroud. And they determined that it was not made by any known artistic or natural process. So the question is, well, what made it then? So John Jackson, he's still alive. He has remained a Shroud researcher this entire time. And so he has a really interesting spreadsheet where he takes about a dozen or 15 so features of the Shroud that you need to account for by any theory that you have for how the Shroud was made. So if you think the Shroud was faked, then whatever process that you are going to propose has to account for these features. And there is no proposed theory, artistic or otherwise, that can account for all the features of the Shroud. And it turns out you can make a replica of the Shroud. You can make something that looks identical to the Shroud that doesn't have the features of the actual Shroud. This is identical to the actual Shroud, and it doesn't share the features. Because by the time you print that image onto the cloth, it's absorbed into the cloth, for example. It's not just on the outermost 0.2 microns of the thread. It's made in an entirely different way, right? So there's things like that it doesn't account for, even though it's an exact replica. So as a physicist, he thought, all right, what do you got to do to make an image with these properties on it? What, as a physicist, is required? And chemically.
This is for you guys who are all still like, I don't understand. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's right. Whatever. This is for you. This is for you.
What's required. And so he came up with a theory called the fall-through radiation hypothesis. And the idea is this. So I have an image here of the...
Why do they all have to have big names for things? Why can't you just call it like... Well, I guess you can't call it what I was going to abbreviate it because it would have been FAPS. And that's hilarious. And you can't call it that because it's in regards to Jesus. And you shouldn't... you shouldn't do that. Big names sound important, TM. Yeah, don't abbreviate it to what I did.
the sculpture that's been made based on the Shroud, you can see the body's in rigor mortis. It's hunched forward, the knees are bent, and then that's roughly how the Shroud wraps around the body.
You gotta see his feet. It's very important. Can you see? Can you see his feet? There you go. Yes. You see the two different positions.
So in the fall-through radiation hypothesis, the idea is that radiation emits from the body at the vacuum ultraviolet wavelength in a burst as it dematerializes, which allows the cloth to fall through it. Okay, so a burst of radiation comes from the body at that specific wavelength as it dematerializes, which lets the cloth fall through it.
Wow.
That would imprint the cloth with the image as the way we see it. And yet you can't, it doesn't happen in nature. You can't replicate it. You can't test it in a lab. You can't go out and observe it. That's just the best we got. The closest that we have to being able to replicate it is physicists recently have been able to use a laser at vacuum ultraviolet in a very incredibly short burst, like millisecond, short burst at that range that left a superficial imprint on the cloth. On both.
Wait, did you guys get that? His body literally disappeared. I can move myself back over. Jesus' feet are gone. The Shroud may not have been Christ, but could have been a light bulb man.
sides, but not the middle. And that's about as good as we got. It doesn't mean that's how it happened. It means that's as close as anybody's ever gotten to replicating.
And is this considered the same thing as the, I think it was called the light burst theory or something?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that we're talking about.
So there's so
I feel like the light burst theory is like the elementary way of describing this.
It is the elementary way, and that's not saying anything,
no, it's fine,
down, but that's like how it gets popularized.
Right.
So then, you end up kind of quantifying the light, and it sounds like this. It is the light burst is what that is. It means that it's a very, very extremely short pulse of this particular wavelength of radiation. That's the light burst.
So is this this theory based on the idea that when they came and they saw that he wasn't in the tomb, the body was gone, and that this is how it was printed onto the cloth then? Or is this like resurrection?
You mean like why it's in like a rectangle shape? So it was probably an uncut form of fabric. Fabric is created in certain lengths. Like if you have ever held a fabric bolt and like pulled the bolt, and pulled the fabric off the bolt, you know that it's in certain heights, and it's always a rectangle. Fabric is best created in rectangles. I don't know why. It just works that way. Maybe we could look up how fabric is created. We can watch how it's made. Let's do that next week. So it's probably just because it's a completely uncut, unsewn piece of fabric that they used on Jesus's body, which is why it's a rectangle. Because you only have so much arm span sitting on a loom. Yes, yeah. But like that doesn't, like, it could be like, why is it not a circle? Why is it not wiggle wobbly? Why is it straight? But it's because of the way that fabric has to be made. That's why it's a rectangle. Yay. Was that helpful, Grace? So it was a bolt of fabric without being cut, was folded underneath and draped over top. Basically, yes. Like imagine I lay you down on a blanket and then I just wrap you in that blanket. That's what happened. Yeah. Like you fold yourself in on a blanket. But the blanket folds over your head. Well, because I was wondering why wouldn't it be wrapped over him? It was draped over, but also wasn't an imprint of the body. Right. So like, yeah. So like, I slap you onto the bed. You are now on a blanket, and I take the top left portion of the blanket and I throw it over your head because I want you to be covered in static because I'm a menace at a sleepover. And now that is the equivalent of how Jesus's body was covered. Is this ASMR roleplay? Yeah, now you should be feeling all of your hair standing up and you are about to get shocked. And if you move the blanket off of you and the lights are out, we will be able to see tiny little shocks. Slap himself on the bed. Amazing! Yes. And if I approach you with metal, we will both hurt. Helpful? Honey ASMR. Yes, yeah. So like, you know how like you wouldn't be like completely wrapped up in it. It's not like we're mummifying you. It's like we're draping the fabric over you. Like we set you on top of it and then threw the rest over you. Yes. Getting shocked in bed is cool sometimes. It's awful in the winter when you are trying to get super duper comfy cozy. That's great, Shinema. I'm gonna use that. Thank you. Oh no, I dropped my eraser. I sent it into the ether. It's gone now. I love you too, Grace.
A resurrection process, I suppose. I don't even know how to describe
Well, see, as far as the scientific evidence goes, this is where the period is put.
Right.
Okay. So at this point, though, because of all the stuff that we know, and to be clear, we have a theology where we embrace the resurrection. So we have we've got a way to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So we see kind of this next step, like, okay, this sounds like maybe it's like natural residue from the miracle of the resurrection.
Yeah.
I believe that. Okay, I could be wrong, and that's fine. Doesn't change the reality of the resurrection if I'm wrong. That's what I think we're looking at. You just can't get there scientifically. You can just go all the way up to the wall and look over.
That's where I close the door on scientific. I'm like, I'll take it here. I'll take it from here, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it would be if the resurrection is a real historical actual event, and I believe it was, then this might be the kind of thing that is the natural artifact created by it.
And this is, I mean, maybe from your understanding, the best possible theory as to how that was made.
It's not even a theory. It's a hypothesis. You can't even test this. They're just like, okay, this is the
yeah, you can't test it at all.
That's the best we'll ever have. That's the best we have right now.
That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I also want to, this is a little bit of backtracking, but I feel like we hinted on it. I don't want to skip over it either.
Okay.
The dating of this.
The radiocarbon dating.
Right. And so that's something that was relied on by skeptics. And what, is there a new form of dating that we've come out with now, or we started implementing that has redated the shroud? Because from what I understand, the skeptics had said that, oh, well, we carbon-14 dated the shroud, and I think it was 600 or 700 years old. They had been saying, and is there a new form of dating, or how does this all work?
The answer is there is a new dating method, but before I tell you about it,
okay,
we got to work through the radiocarbon dating method, because I mean that sounds like that's just going to settle how old the cloth is.
Sure.
And so the radiocarbon dating of the shroud happened because the STRP team was so successful. Everybody was like fascinated by all the data. It doesn't conclusively show it's authentic.
I'll be right back, but I'm gonna leave a video on for you.
The data was all consistent with it being authentic. There was no outlier saying like, yeah, it looks like this thing could be faked up or whatever. There was nothing. And so the STRP team proposed another round of tests, and one of them was radiocarbon dating. So to answer the question, how old is the cloth? And that seemed like such an important thing to answer. It got separated out as its own thing to deal with. And the other test ended up not getting done for various reasons. The STRP team ended up breaking up. And so you had guys from the STRP team who were still involved in the radiocarbon dating. And so in the mid-'80s, there was a group of people who were advising on how to go about this. And so it was a couple guys from the STRP team. There was the scientific advisor to the Vatican. There was the Archbishop of Turin, who is he's the custodian of the shroud. So just a little bit about the shroud. Remember, it was the King of Savoy is who owned the shroud, and he owned the shroud up until the year 1983. That's when the last hereditary King of Savoy died. So he bequeathed it to whoever the sitting Pope is. So the sitting Pope owns the shroud. So when the 1978 test is done, it's done with the permission of the King of Savoy. Now, in the mid-'80s, now that it belongs to the Pope, the church has far more of a say in it. So the Pope owns it, but really kind of the caretaker of it is the Archbishop of Turin. So they all get together and they talk about how they're going to go about it. It's non-binding kind of protocol that they come up with, but they do come up with a protocol. So the idea is that they're going to take 7 different samples from at least 3 different locations to give to 7 different labs who used 1 of 2 different kinds of radiocarbon dating. And that would give a big enough data set that you could reliably give a date range. So that's the idea. And then before the sample was cut in 1988, there were rumors that went out that the scientists caught wind of that the Archbishop wasn't going to adhere to these decisions, to the protocol they came up with. And so they warned him that, there's letters to him that said that, if you use fewer samples or fewer labs or whatever, it's a hit to the integrity and it's not going to be as trustworthy as a result. When the time came to cut the sample, he, in fact, changed everything. And instead of 7 different samples, he allowed 1 sample to be cut. And that sample was given to 3 different labs who used all the same radiocarbon dating technique to do the work. So almost everything about it was changed. He never explained why. He didn't have to. And I'm not trying to vilify him because, I mean, if you think about if you were the person in charge of the Shroud of Turin, and you're kind of like, yeah, that'd be great to figure out, how old it was. And in theory, let's cut a sample and figure it out. And then the time came to actually do it. Okay. It's like saying, okay, Tony, we're going to cut off part of your body. And so we can do some tests on you. What part do you want cut off?
Yeah.
And they're thinking, maybe the scientists are going to, and it'd be really helpful if we cut your eye, that'd be the most helpful, or a piece of your brain. And you totally back out of it and go, no, you can have like the knuckle off my pinky toe, and that's what he did, because they also said, he didn't just change all those rules. They also advised him not to take the sample from a couple different spots on the shroud because they showed a high likelihood of contamination. And when the time came to cut the sample, that's where he allowed it to be cut. That's the only place. And so that spot is the upper left-hand corner. Now, this replica is a photograph taken in 1978. This is the STRP team photo. So that is what got tested. You're looking at a photo of what got tested in that upper left-hand corner there before it was cut. So on the screen, I've got the area right here.
Why
That's
are we
what gets
showing
cut.
it?
Now, you can see this is this is where the backing cloth is, because some stuff has already been cut away. Dignitaries used to come visit the shroud and they would cut little pieces off and give it to them. So this is already chopped away. This is dirty backing cloth. This is cleaner backing cloth because this little fin shape was cut away in 1973. That becomes important in a minute. This is the strip that gets cut for the test in 1978. And so this is the cut being made. So when the cut gets made, what happens is the person supervising it is the head of the Italian team from 1978. His name's Giovanni Rigi. So he allows, when they do the cut, is the first thing is this gets cut in half, and Rigi gets to keep this part, and he puts it in his safe back in Italy. And then this part gets cut into 3 equal weights, and that's what's distributed to the 3 different labs. And so they each do their tests on it, and 6 months later, they make an announcement at a press conference that the date is between 1260 and 1380. So it's, this gets popularized in the press as it's a medieval fake. The STRP team's scientists were all shocked because this is an outlier. You've got over 24 tests that indicate authenticity, and you've got 1 outlier test that says not authentic. For whatever reason, this test takes on more weight than all the other 24 tests or so. And so the possibility that this could be medieval scares off a lot of the scientists who were doing this research, and they're not interested in the shroud anymore because it's a fake. So, I mean, who cares what it is? Cool image. We just don't care anymore. So a lot of the scientists just drop out. The church then disallows any more scientific investigation on the cloth, and they focus on its conservation. So at this, shortly after this, well, about the year 2000, they end up with the high-tech reliquary that it is in now, which is, fireproof, atmosphere-proof, and light, protects it from light and all of that. So that's what they're really focused on. But the STRP team type of investigation has never been allowed since then. So this just kind of gets locked away. But there were some scientists who were like, this just...
Oh no, an eye break. Hang on, I wait. I don't want anybody to miss it. Oh man. Let me back and let me know. Let me know when you're back. Gotta wait for 30 seconds. Shall I continue my Wizard 101 story? Well. Welcome back. I guess I don't have to. We're good then. Well, I was gonna say, what's up, cornflakes? How you doing? How you doing? Today has been a really good stream. I've been streaming for a long time.
Something's not right about this because everything seems to be indicating authenticity, and then you got this one thing that doesn't really make sense. So there were a couple of researchers who hung in there and kept doing some more work. And there was a husband and wife team in the late 90s, early 2000s that got a hold of a high-resolution photograph of one of the samples given to one of the labs that was dated. And they showed this image to several different textile experts, didn't tell them what it was, and didn't tell them they were showing it to other experts. And they all came back and said, well, it looks like, an ancient piece of cloth that's been patched. There's something else. It's mixed together, and one of them even said that.
Why didn't they go to textile historians first? Huh? What? What? Why didn't? Oh, thanks, YR. Thank you. It's okay. This one, I'm hoping, as long as I don't get bonked, which that will be up to Mr. Merkel, as to whether or not I get bonked. But I mean, I'm sure he'll take the monetization away from me, which is fine. I don't need monetization. I don't need monetization anyway. But this stream has been very good. I've been enjoying myself thoroughly. This always seems to be a theme in the media. One outlier piece of data disproves Christianity and everything about it. Well, it's convenient. The one true thing has a small thing that says in a very ignorant way that it's wrong. Wow. Crazy.
This is a technique known in the Middle Ages called an invisible reweave. And so they proposed this theory that the nuns, probably at the time they put the patches and the backing cloth on the shroud, fortified a weak part of the shroud and introduced cotton in an invisible reweave
Mm.
to support that part of the shroud. And so the chemist on the STRP team, a guy named Raymond Rogers, whose career was spent at Los Alamos National Labs, where like Oppenheimer takes place,
Whoa.
he hears this report and he does not buy it. He does not think, he knows that the shroud is linen. He's handled the shroud. He actually has threads taken from the main body of the shroud in his lab. He
Do you
knows they're
guys
linen.
know
So he-
that you can take individual threads off of linen? Isn't that so neat? I mean, you can do that with normal clothes too, but like specifically with linen, it's a lot easier because of the way that it's woven. So cool.
This is kind of a crazy idea, or at least he doesn't buy into it. But he decides to demonstrably prove this is false.
Before Nineveh was discovered, the Assyrians being in scripture was the main critique that the scriptures were false, but archaeology keeps winning. That's why we're not allowed to go into the paw of the Sphinx. Let me in there. Let me in. I would like to go down, please. I want to go down. I want to go in there. There was a whole other thing, part of Egypt, that is under the sand. Let me in. I want to go. I want to go so bad. Yeah, at the time I think they were called the invaders from the north, I think, is what they were described as. I mean, we now know them as Assyrians. I have this huge book that I would like to pull out for you guys. It's the timeline of the Bible. From like, it's a huge book. The book is like 20 some odd inches tall. It's huge. I don't know how I'll get it on camera, but I want to get pictures of it so I can show you guys without showing myself. But the video I saw, the hieroglyphs, probably Abraham was found in Egypt. Wow. Allow me to descend into the Sphinx, my brothers. Let me in! Also, Edward Thatch, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for moving in. Yeah, dude, let me in. I want to go down. Let me go down. Let me go down. Come on. Come on. I want to go so bad.
So the way he does it is he also has threads from the 1973 sample, this spot right here, okay, taken adjacent to the area cut in 1978. So this, what was cut right here, he's got threads from that in his office. And so he does a chemical analysis of the thread he has from the middle of the cloth from 1978, and it's just linen. This is exactly what he thought. And linen comes from the flax plant. Then he goes and looks at the 1973 thread, and he's shocked because it's cotton from the cotton plant woven into linen in this incredibly hard to detect integration of one cloth into the other. And the cotton has been coated in plant gum, probably to make it look like the linen. So it's a mixture. And not only is that it's a shock because the main body of the cloth is linen, but it doesn't make sense in terms of Jewish tradition, which forbids the mixing of these two cloths together. Right? So it's not even Jewish at this point. It's not part of the Jewish tradition to have these two materials mixed together.
Two cloth fabrics, not allowed.
Shocking to him. So he thinks, well, what
Tui.
did they test in 1978?
I spit on your two
So
cloths.
he reaches out to Giovanni Ricci, the guy who's got half of the sample still in his safe. And Ricci sends him threads from what got cut as the sample, and he does the test, and it's a mixture of cotton woven into linen, coated in plant gum.
Wow.
And so he published his result in early 2005 in a peer-reviewed scientific journal for chemists. And he conclusively demonstrates that what got tested in 1988 to get this radiocarbon date is not representative of the shroud.
So good.
And it's only in this academic, this journal for chemists who read it, so it's not hardly anybody knows about it. But he doesn't prove the shroud is from the 1st century, and he doesn't say the scientists did anything wrong. He doesn't impugn them at all. There are people who, some people when the 1988 date came out, they start attacking the scientists. Oh, well, you just have a conspiracy of a bunch of atheists who don't want this thing to verify Jesus or whatever. And this. You don't have to go there. Okay. And there are some people who say, well, maybe the fires that have been in it have skewed the data because the change, in the chemical composition of the thread. And that might be true too. We just don't have any data to support that. That's just kind of speculation. You don't have to do any of that. Because of Raymond Rogers' work, what you find is that the radiocarbon date does not represent cloth that is representative of the main body of the shroud. So the answer is, with the radiocarbon date, it doesn't represent the main body of the shroud, and therefore no one knows how old the cloth is. We have no scientific evidence for how old the cloth is.
Wow.
Then you asked about a new method.
Yeah.
And this comes from 2022. So a couple years ago,
Whoa,
there
new.
was a new test that was done using something called wax-S method, which is a wide-angle X-ray scattering technique, which is, okay, so just to be clear, I am not a scientist. My dad is a physicist. So when this report came out, I called my dad. I'm like, okay, tell me, does this make any sense whatsoever? And so my knowledge, I'm just reporting. Okay, so can't quiz me too hard on this. My understanding is wax-S is not a new technique at all. It's a known, trusted method, but it hasn't ever been used to date textiles before. This is the innovation. And so the way it gets reported in the pop press is that there's a new date done on the shroud that proves it's from the 1st century with a new way of dating. And this is not what happened. Okay, what happened is, with the wax-S dating, it's not actually dating. What the wax-S does is when it's performed on linen, it gives a measurement for the degradation of the cellulose in the linen thread. All it does is give you a measurement. It doesn't tell you a date. So to get a date, what you have to do is have a sample of a known age that you also do it to, and then you compare it. So what the test did is it performed this on a thread from the shroud. They had a linen sample from the 2000s, a linen sample from the Middle Ages, a linen sample from the 1st century from around the year 550 to 74 AD, found at Masada, and then I believe a 3000 BC Egyptian burial cloth. So they ran the wax-S on all of it, and the 1st century cloth from Masada was almost a dead match for the degradation value that they had come up with, and therefore it is consistent with the 1st century cloth. So that's what that is. What's not fully appreciated here, and that's fascinating. And
that is crazy.
I love that they did that.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy to have you. That's crazy. Gosh, isn't that so neat that we can date fabric? That's so cool.
What's not fully appreciated is that
irregarding that this is the shroud, just the fact that we can date fabric. Neat.
Apparently, the environment affects the degradation of that they're measuring, and that unless you know the known environment for the entire time of its existence, then it's not nearly as apples to apples as it sounds like, because you don't know where the shroud has been. You don't know where the 1st century burial shroud of Masada has been. You don't know where the medieval cloth has been. You probably only really have provenance for the cloth from the 2000s. So that's kind of the asterisk on this that also needs to be appreciated. Doesn't mean it's not worth anything. It just means that that's one of the things that has to be considered. Also, because it's an innovative use of this technology to date like this, you just got to let it have time to be vetted by the scientific community and see if it's accepted or not as well. So fascinating, but we don't want to put too much weight on it. Yeah.
So if I have this straight, original dating from 78, I believe, or was it 88, is flawed dating because of...
It's not flawed dating, it's flawed sample.
Right, okay, so it's flawed sample.
We have let's just believe everything about that scientists. They did it with integrity. And not impugning any of their work. Zero. They just tested what they had. Okay.
Gotcha.
What they had was a contaminated sample. It's not representative of the shroud. That's the best way to put it.
Okay. So that initial dating, which people, maybe if they don't know, we're still relying on, hey, this has been debunked. Because you said that it was published in a journal, but nobody read the journal. So nobody even knew that it's been reanalyzed. And so this in 3 years ago, we have this new methodology that shows promise, but there is flawed aspects of it as well, because we don't know the historical route that this thing has taken over thousands of years.
Right.
So to this day, I guess what I'd like to do is maybe bring it in for a landing with this line of thinking for you to maybe ponder on, do you know of anything that is on the horizon that might be able to lead towards a very accurate dating that
I wanted to say
the shroud is
forgot.
2,000 years old? Or are we still kind of at a point in time where we're still playing with dating and just seeing, what's going to come up? Because we don't know what's going to happen and develop in the scientific realm in the future.
Right.
So are we still kind of, I guess, in a waiting game as to the actual accurate dating of the shroud?
Yeah. Now, you're asking somebody who's got a degree in theology and art.
Right,
okay.
okay.
So I can't tell you what's on the scientific horizon. But we see the type of advances that occur in science very quickly. So I'm very optimistic that other methods will be developed, and maybe even this one, the wax-S, will be refined. And there's ways to get through the asterisk, that's that we have there right now. And to be fair, the scientists who do that test don't say, well, this proves it's 1st century. All they, it's consistent with the 1st century cloth. It's the way it gets reported that gets overstated. And that's kind of the what we're trying to fight through to get to the real data here.
I really appreciate the way that he's like so adamant about being like, hey gang, Like don't say it like 1,000% because we still don't know. Because that would be disingenuous. I really do appreciate how he's like this because I've listened to other people talk about the Shroud and they're like without a doubt 100% no mistakes and if it's or but this is it, this is 1,000% it, this is everything is right and blah 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 blah, blah. I'm like, no, it's such a breath of fresh air to hear him being like, well, we are exceedingly confident that it is, but there is currently room for error because of the nature of the fact that we can't prove the theory because it can't be replicated because nobody can resurrect in the way that Jesus did. And also, we also don't have the tools necessary to account for all of the damage or all of the potentials that happen to this fabric. But still, despite this, we are very confident that it still is because of all of these other tests that we've done. So therefore, it is not... Yeah, he refuses to overstate anything but presents the evidence so plainly and just is like, this is how we understand it in context and why we believe it's legitimate. Yes, Grace, thank you for putting that into words. Yes. Yeah, he is very sure that it is legitimate, but he's like, well, it's not 100% proven, but I am very confident. But also, like, the fact that he keeps reiterating, like, it doesn't shake his faith if it isn't. Because we don't cling to this to prove to our faith at all. Jesus resurrected, we know this. This would just be really cool proof. The only 100% definitive thing is Scripture, and Scripture says something like this should exist, which helps even more. Yes, we do have it written that he was wrapped in this. So this being an object is real, and it is in Scripture. He is extremely clear and direct that we have lots of evidence, but we don't understand everything, but we know a lot because of these proofs. Yes. Yeah, I really appreciate that, which is why I really wanted to show you guys this video today. I'm really glad that we were able to go through it.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
We're almost done.
But there is one other fascinating line of evidence for the authenticity of the Shroud that's totally different than anything we've talked about.
Oh.
Can
Wow,
we do that?
thanks for the
Absolutely.
pity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hang on before we get to that. Going back to what was said over one small fact supposedly debunking Christianity reminds me of the Gospel of Thomas was used in the Da Vinci Code. The media was like, Christianity debunked flying spaghetti monster. Only was traced to the 2nd century, one proof being the names used and how it describes place in Judea. Yeah. Isn't Thomas like Apocrypha though? And we don't even include that. We watching Bible time with Biggs Jesus next? We should. We should. I've been trying to save a compilation of those. I love him so much. Not tonight or not today, but next stream we should. How do you guys feel about that? We watch Bible time with Biggs Jesus. That'd be great. Hang on, I'm gonna stare at you menacingly because I'm gonna pick up my eraser.
This has to do with art history. And the idea behind this comes from something that a researcher, Shroud researcher in the 1930s recognized. And he saw that
I see.
among the images of Jesus, particularly Byzantine icons starting around the middle of the 6th century,
Oh, this is the
they
girl
all
stuff.
have this uniformity to it. In fact, a very high percentage of them have the same 15 features or so. And yet, before the middle of the 6th century, there's this wide variety of ways to depict Jesus that doesn't have any of this. And he started trying to figure out what the best way to explain this was. So to fully appreciate it, you need to get a sense of what Jesus looked like in the earliest days of Christianity. So here is just kind of a representative sample going from the very earliest image of the crucifixion, which is that graffiti, but it gives Jesus a horse head, so that doesn't really count. But that's the earliest thing we got. But
With that graffiti, though, I feel like I've seen this before where that graffiti was meant to actually be insulting to the Christians, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. They were making.
That's why it had a horse head.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're making fun of this, like, our buddy's God. This is who he's worshiping, and that's what they draw. So, but that's the earliest actual depiction of Jesus, although it's meant to mock him because of the horse head. But the other images range from 2nd century to the early 5th century.
Wow.
You can see he's got long
Some
hair.
people
he's got
are
short hair, he's
artistes.
bearded, he's clean shaven. He's enthroned. He's a wonder worker, a shepherd, a fisherman. It's all sorts of different ways. Augustine even complains in writing about how many depictions of Jesus there are. And then suddenly, in the middle of the 6th century, this is what happens. where Jesus looks like Barry Gibb,
Oh.
like across the board.
Barry Gibb. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite depiction of Jesus, even though this eye is a little wonk, but you know, eyes are sisters, not twins, so you know. But I love this depiction of Jesus. I think it's I don't know, it's just a little haunting. It's a little beautiful. I really like it. Hang on, let me move so you guys can see the other iterations of Jesus, because I'm hiding one that I really like too. It's really funny. Look at this one. I have a friend that looks like this. You can't see my mouse. Wait, can you? There it is. This one. Sorry, my friend. I love you. Please don't. I'm not bullying you. I swear. I'm sorry. Well, hey, Ryan, how you doing? Anyway, yes. This is my favorite iteration of Jesus. I love him. Well, hang on. We'll get to it, YR. We'll get to it.
Barry Gibb is one of the Bee Gees, by the way. Talking like a dad rock guy. So, there are features that are common in almost every one of these icons, and this is again just representative. This isn't all the data we have. So there's like this weird kind of triangle between the eyebrows. There's a line across the forehead, and all of them he's got these big, heavy owlish eyes. He's got the same shape and size nose. His hair is parted in the middle, and it's usually got strands hanging down like that. He's got a forked beard in most of them. The way the tunic hits across the chest is in all of them. And so the guy was like, okay. How do you explain
my friend is catching strays.
What happened in the middle of the 6th century that would all of a sudden make these writers of the Byzantine icons believe that there was like, all of a sudden it's like there's an exemplar they're all trying to match. Yeah. So what happened? And in the year 544 was the recovery of the image of Edessa, and that image has all of the features that are being.
Hang on, let me pause. Let's appreciate this. Do you see his eyes are closed? And his lips? And you can see his beard? Gosh. Like, wow. This is the closest thing that we will ever get to seeing him before we die. Unless you had an interaction with Jesus. Which he does do that for some people. And if you're one of those people, I'm immensely jealous. But, like, I don't know, it makes me want to weep, you know? Like, wow, there he is. So cool. Yeah.
In all the other images. And so this became this area of interest for art historians to dive into. In the late 70s and early 80s, there was a psychiatrist at Duke University who went way down this rabbit hole. So he started comparing images of the face on the cloth to these different Byzantine icons. And a couple of Byzantine icons become very important.
No, I would be jealous.
This one, because this...
I can be happy and jealous for them at the same time. I want to see Jesus and not be dead. I work with a few people named Jesus, but it's pronounced differently. Ah, Jesus, eh?
This is called a Pantocrator icon. It's from St. Catherine's Monastery at the foot of the traditional Mount Sinai in Egypt. And the monks there believe it was painted with the exemplar of the burial shroud of Jesus, and it's dated to the year 550, around 550, 6 years after the recovery of the image of Edessa. So what this guy would do, this guy from Duke...
Look at all the colors in his face.
He didn't have a Mac to work on at this point.
That was
so
awesome.
What he had was 2 slide projectors, and each one of these images in the slide projectors, he'd project them onto his wall at the same time.
Really good painting.
And he had 2 polarized lenses. One was horizontal, one was vertical, and then he held a 3rd polarizing lens, and he would twist it, and he would be able to identify places where these 2 images, when they're overlaid, match identically, and he counts about 175 of them, or 170 of them.
I mean, just looking at it, the nose is incredibly similar.
The nose is incredibly similar. And yet, at the same time, when they're side by side, you kind of go, all right, you know, long-haired guy.
Wait, just wait. Please, just wait.
But really 170 points. And to be fair, I have never seen a map showing all 170 points. Never. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just have never seen one, if it does exist. But you don't really need that, because
you got to be the best player at I Spy or spot the difference.
And you can see just what he's getting at, because you don't have to count the points once you see it. So if you stare at the tip of the nose here, you will see the eyes just kind of open up. And the eyebrows fill in. The nose, as you pointed out, is an exact match. The beard matches. This weird stain under here becomes the top of the tunic. And then the hair parts, everything. So just look at the tip of the nose. Ready?
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa. Here it comes again.
Unreal.
So here's another version of it. So slightly lighter version of the shroud and a different overlay.
That's
It's exact.
amazing.
It's crazy.
That's incredible.
And so here's yet another version. So this is a naked eye version of the shroud, but with the contrast amped up, and the flesh just fits right on top of it. Is that not amazing?
That's
Wow.
wild.
So this Pantocrator icon image is the closest image we have in existence to the face on the shroud. So
That's
a couple years ago,
amazing.
it kind of became a thing for people to try to use AI
Yes.
to create the, take the data from the face on the shroud to see what he looked like.
Mhm.
So as a graphic designer, I use this program as well. But I know that you can't just put in the data from the face on the shroud and extrapolate a face out of it with any kind of realism. What you need is an example image, and to also feed it as an example. So the
Yeah, was that
so the images
crazy?
that you see, there's very powerful and very realistic, but they're also based on another image. So it's like, they find an image of a long-haired guy that they think basically looks the same, and they include that in the data. So when I did it, this is the data that I used. These two images, because this is the closest we have.
Okay.
So when the data from these two images are combined in Midjourney, this is the image I came up with.
Wow.
Wow.
So whether that's
Scary.
realistic or not, we don't know.
I don't like AI.
Plausible if the Pantocrator icon is really reflecting the way that Jesus looked, and the face on the shroud is actually Jesus, right? All sorts of caveats.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty compelling image.
It's absolutely compelling. So I
crazy.
mean, we've gone
I don't know,
from
that gave me
ancient times
goosies.
to 70s and 80s to now we're in 2025 using AI.
But also not
to
the greatest
pull the image and
goosies.
data from this ancient relic. I mean, if this is
I like
accurate,
the
I mean,
painting more.
accurate, I use that loosely, but I mean, with AI, we could be looking at the face of Christ.
It's way more compelling than the image
Anti-AI crowd right
Jesus
up.
looks like he just walked off stage with Kenny Loggins. He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in a shampoo commercial and all that. It's totally different. So he also did it with this image. This is a coin from the year 695 or so, and it's the first time Jesus appears on a coin.
That's a depiction of Christ on a coin?
Yes.
Wow.
And in fact, I was just in Istanbul a couple of weeks ago, and at the Archaeological Museum, they've got 3 of these coins on display. So you can see it.
How you
They're
say
tiny. They're about the size of a
archaeological?
dime
Hmm.
at the most. So this is zoomed in quite a bit. But he did the same overlay technique and found 140 places where it matched. And so when you do this match, watch the nose. It overlays exactly again.
That's wow. That's incredible.
And then I'll show you one more piece of art history evidence. And this has to do with a book called the Hungarian Prey Codex. And this, or Hungarian Prey manuscript, it's dated from around the year 1195. That's 65 years earlier than the oldest end of the radiocarbon dating.
I love how he
which is
captured
1260.
their
So
sadness.
1260 to 1380 is the radiocarbon dating. This is from 1195. And it shows
It does seem
this
uncanny.
top panel
Yeah,
is
I
an
didn't
image
like the
of,
AI.
the burial of Jesus. Look at the position of the body. His right arm's over the left, so it's the same position as the man in the shroud. But what's fascinating, let me flip this over, is this pattern on the cloth is really unusual. But this pattern is the same as the weave of the shroud, which is called a 3/1 herringbone pattern. So this distinct weave in the shroud is actually depicted in this cloth. But even weirder than that, look at the detail that is included. These 4
Whoa.
circles in the L shape, which match the poker holes right there, which
Wow.
would be a really weird detail to include on a burial shroud that doesn't exist yet, according to the radiocarbon dating.
Wow. Wow.
Not only that, but look at this extra cloth there. What in the world is that?
Oh, that's
Might be
the
the Sudarium. It's the other cloth. Whether the people who made that image for the Hungarian Prey manuscript knew about the Sudarium or not, it looks like they're depicting the other cloth found in the tomb.
Wow. So that seals it for me. That seals it for me. That's
My work is
incredible.
done here.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just cracked the case. I mean, I'm so glad you shared that here, because that really,
yeah.
I mean, especially you pointed out, I don't know how long we've been going, but at least an hour ago, you pointed out the L shape, and to bring
Yeah.
that full circle, really, and just so I understand, this artistic piece predates the radiocarbon dating
By 65 years.
by 65 years. Incredible. Wow. Well, Mr. Doug Powell,
Wow. Posture check. I am sitting up straight. Hang on, let me switch to just chatting. Oh, I'm too high now. Excuse me. Hello. What do you guys think? Was that crazy? Or what? Let me. Are you feeling a little different about how you feel about the shroud now that you know all this stuff? Whether or not you think it's authentic or not, it doesn't matter, but like the fact that it's a pretty decent historical representation of Christ, probably. Thank you. Hang on, let me zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. What do you think? Look, I'm standing on my desk. Standing on my notebook. There I am. What do you guys think? Oh my gosh. Why are you walking so hard? didn't know about the pollen. That's very compelling. Yes, I agree. I agree. What do you think? Do you have thoughts? I think for me personally, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't shake my faith at all. It doesn't determine my faith. I think it's extremely likely that it is the Shroud. Is it all jelly? Oh, it's a little solid. Oh, it smells so good. Smell your finger. I smell like a Hobby Lobby. Sorry, I'm selling a candle. Yeah, I think it's, I don't think it matters, whether or not, it is,
The Skinny Fall Festival.
Okay. It's
Oh,
the Tuscany Candle
I
Fall
thought
Festival with
someone had
essential
asked.
oils, spices, and soft musk.
I thought someone had asked about the candle.
No, it was me. I was getting excited. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't determine my faith. It's just further proof that it did happen. If it is the Shroud at all. I mean, like, you know, Jesus. Yes. I think it is. I don't understand why it wouldn't be ads. I think the ads are over, probably. But yeah, I'm so glad that you guys could all hang out with me today. I hope this VOD stays up. Thank you, Zephyr. Thank you. My new Grimace outfit. I'm gonna have pajamas soon, and I'm gonna have a cool casual outfit, and then I also have a Shrine Maiden outfit. Yes. The link is shared. I'm gonna put it in the description of the YouTube video once it's uploaded. And I'm all done with the. Well, it's not like. Well, I guess it's the VOD. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, if you want to rewatch it, I'll put it in the description there, so you guys can watch it again. If you're into like really spooky stuff like werewolves and stuff, Mr. Merkel's channel is the place to go. If you're not about that, then it's fine. This was a very different video than he normally posts, and it was really good. Oh, Myat! Hello! Yeah. 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 I was really, after I mentioned it in Kat's stream the other day, I really wanted to talk about it with you guys, because I feel like it was something that I think is really neat, especially with there being so much scientific backing for everything, and also like all of the work people have done. I didn't want it to be like shoved away. And I thought that Doug in particular did a very good job about articulating it. I mean, it is his work, so. Welcome home. You did it. I'm still streaming. Almost 4 hours. Wowie. Let's see. Should we go look at somebody to raid? Now that we're done? I don't know who's still streaming at this point. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for popping in. I'm shocked how much proof there is. Yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't want anybody to like be super solid in either way, because I really wanted everybody to see how much there was in terms of like more information about what was going on with the Shroud that I feel like most people are not privy to knowing, just because of the fact it's not something that people cover. Why are you staying on the desk? It's gonna break. No, it's fine. He's fine. I'm barely the size of this drink right now. It's okay. I can put myself behind it. But I just want to show off my outfit. This is cute.
She's Mary Maxing.
I am. What you gonna do about it? It's okay, I'll get big. I'll get really close. I'll get really close. Nice. Am I close enough? Wee. Python. I have some new expressions, but I don't have them hotkeyed yet.
Probably both.
Was that tail or hair? It was tail! It was a tail! Wasn't that cute? Because Highland cows don't have, like, typical cow tails. It's all hair. Wow, revolutionary. Hang on, let me look. Let me look and see if I can find my expressions. I have so many more now. What's this? Thank you. Highland cow research? We can. I don't know how to trigger this. I'm gonna have to give them all hotkeys. Dang. I don't wanna have to do that right now. Love a Scottish Highland cow. Me too! Highland cows are the best! I'm from the Appalachians, so they would live quite happily here. But I don't have enough space to have a cow. So I decided to become one instead. That's okay. That's okay. I don't have the thick accent like Clover does. Mine slips out occasionally. But burger. I want burger. I cannot has, but I won't. Oh, I was supposed to look for somebody to raid. I'm such a goober. Aw, Frog is singing Christmas song. Let's see. It's really them right now. Savage. Whoa. I'm amazed that you can look at food while you are fasting.
This is Pixel.
My mom made ice cream and it tastes 1-to-1 like restaurant ice cream. Yeah, that sounds great. What? Homemade ice cream. Dang, your mom sounds great. I wish my mom made me ice cream. I was gonna say, all my mom did was make me cry. Dang it. That was incredibly... Yeah. Same, I'm mostly from the Appalachian area, but currently living in Texas. Hey, that sounds great. Zerg is streaming? Oh, I guess I don't follow Zerg anymore? Did he make me unfollow him?
Zergtron?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna... I thought I was following him, but if I'm not following him anymore, I don't want to accidentally step on any toes. So... Great video. Yes, I'm glad that you guys were able to watch it with me today. And I'm glad that I had the strength to throw out 4 hours. Montana Misfit, you're right. She is streaming. Do you think she's gonna go on for a long time? Oh, they're playing Pow World. Oh, are they playing the new update? Oh my gosh. Yes, let's raid.
Go on. Go on. Go on now.
Yeah. I'll let you rest your voice, but I'll send some cool stuff. Oh, nice. Oh wait. Yeah, there's the raid messages. There we go. Let's see. We're streaming, I think, normal next week. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Unless something comes up, which I'll let you know. Because I think Christmas Day is Thursday, right? Power World. Yes, Power World's gonna be so good. I just saw she's live. Yeah. Oh, I love Power World. I don't know, YR. I don't want to assume anything. That's okay. I'm so excited. Power World is such a good game. And she's fishing right now. Did you guys know that was a new thing? I didn't know that. Anyway, I don't know what we're doing next week, but let's have a good time together. Let's hang out on Christmas, okay? Is there anything else I need to say and inform you on?
We love you guys.
We love you.
Have a blessed holiday season.
Yes, take care of yourselves. Travel safe. We'll be praying for all of you. Get blessed. If you need to not be alone Christmas Day, I'll be streaming. So let's hang out, okay? I love you all. Take care of yourselves, okay? Bye! Bye! Bye bye! Bye! Bye bye bye! Bye bye! Bye bye bye! Love you! Bye bye!
Hey, cut it. Take care of